All right, guys, what's going on? We're here. We're live. Welcome to a brand new Poker Live podcast. My name is Joe Ingram, aka Chicago Joey. I want to give a special shout out to anyone who follows this guy today on Instagram. He likes to put. I saw that he put the last podcast we did in his little header description, whatever, on Instagram. And I know he has one of the best Instagrams in the entire world. So I want to give a special shout out to anyone who's joining me from Instagram today. Our guest today is a young man who is one of the podcast favorites. He's been on the podcast four times now, and he's one of the most GTO people in all facets of the. When you think about the word game theory optimal, no one describes the word better than this guy. The people love him. It looks like he put on a little bit more size since the last time we've seen him. And his name is, of course, Sean Lefort. What's up, Lefort? Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, buddy. How's it going? Good to see you.
It's going pretty well, Lefort. You so last time we saw you, when the last time we podcasted? Before June last year, right?
Yeah, so it would have been before we hooked up there at the World Series and had our little party week. That was fun. I guess we can probably talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so me and Lefort, what is someone so having in my hair? I don't know, man. Yeah, we got Lefort on the podcast today. I should have put a little bit of stuff in my hair, man. We got Lefort here. Hold on a second. Let me get more Lefortified.
I actually just got my hair cut, and I went in my dresser. Was like, I asked her to give me the Joey Ingram. She's like, okay, I think we can do that.
So when you tell your hairdresser to give you the Joey Ingram, do you bring a photo of me? Is it like just a clip from the podcast or something? She already knows who I am, probably, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, of course she knew. She knew. I just had to, tell her how to go high, tight and high, I guess was the best way to describe it.
Well, it looks GTO as always, kid. But yeah, last year we went to. What'd you say?
What's the necklace you got wearing there? What's the story behind that?
Okay, so I was in Dusseldorf in Germany last summer after I went to Tomorrowland, and me and my friend, shout out to Sabrina, we were walking down the street, and I found this random store. This guy was sitting there, and he had a bunch of items like in a chest. And I looked and I was like, "What's in the chest?" He's like, "Oh, I just had some things in there." So I look in the chest, I see some like crazy like Thailand type little gypsy pants, and then I see this necklace. I'm like, "All right, how much for those?" He's like, 15. I'm like, "Oh, okay, here you go." I gave him 15, and now I got this. I ended up with this thing. So
it's awesome. I like that.
Pretty much the story. So, but yeah, we're gonna be talking about the current state of the online pot limit Omaha world. We haven't talked to you since the recent changes happened with the rake and with heads up and everything. We're gonna be talking about your recent trip to Colombia. You were owning the Snapchat game pretty hard during that trip, and we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll get us some updates on how the investments are going, how all that stuff you've been working on the last time we talked to you has been going. And obviously we'll get some of the usual fitness, life, love, heart, hope, wisdom that we usually are accustomed to from you. So I'm trying to
talk about actually all of those topics. I've got a lot to say. I'm looking forward to kind of diving into some stuff. And I think some people had some questions for us to ask too, so we'll probably get to those at the end too, maybe.
I think so. We'll try. Cool. What do you want to start off with, kid? Should we do our EDC trip report from last year first? Do you want to talk PLO first?
Let's do the EDC thing, and then we'll talk about PLO.
Okay, so EDC, for those who don't know, it's Electric Daisy Carnival. It's in Las Vegas, and we talked about going there on the podcast last year, but we actually went there, and I put up a long trip report on my site, One Poker Life. If you guys want to go check that out, of the whole entire Vegas trip, and then that was definitely included in there. But yeah, what do you remember from EDC? Because that was in June, kid, and it's fucking April, end of April right now. It's almost been 10 months.
I remember the first night. I don't know how much you want to talk about what happened on the first night, but I remember. You remember what I'm talking about? I was rattled because of the social situation, the social dynamics in our little group that we had.
So are you talking about the big group we went with there, or after that?
The subgroup that we were in.
Oh, you mean we can't say her name, but yeah, you mean with a friend of mine, correct?
Yeah. Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, we just can't say her name.
Okay. So basically, we were with a really, really big group of people, but we got cut off from that group. And I was with Joey and his friend. And I was partaking in some extracurricular activities. Joey and his friend was not.
Yeah, no one's gonna believe that. But
sometimes when you partake in those activities, you are more keen to certain social dynamics that are occurring. And I was sensing something funny was arising between amongst the group. Something odd was happening, and well, I remember thinking that it might have to do with the fact that I was the only one partaking in extracurricular activities, and I didn't want you guys thinking that. I mean, you know how sometimes you can get paranoid, and I didn't want you guys thinking that you were babysitting me in any way. And I remember pulling you aside multiple times, being like, Joe, if you want me to go do my own thing, you guys want to be alone, that's cool. Because I thought maybe that's what the problem was, right? And you're like, no, it's fine, Lefort, don't worry about it. And finally, like, I was like, Joe, like, what's going on here? Like, you know, I'm just going to go do my own thing. You grabbed me and you're like, whatever you do, don't leave me, Lefort. Don't leave me. Because you were actually having, you were actually not happy with, I guess, maybe the friend that you had brought or whatever was happening. And that's what I was picking up on. And it made for kind of a bit of an awkward couple hours. But once I realized what was going on, I was like, fuck it. And I just tried to make sure you guys had fun. And once you gave me the SPIRITHOOD, it really changed the dynamics of that whole evening. Mm-hmm. Because anybody that knows me knows I'm a really terrible dancer. But the SPIRITHOOD really helped me and made me feel like I could dance. You know, gave me the ability to dance. There it is. Want me to go get mine?
You get your spirit. Okay, yeah, I remember. So Lefort, you know, he's standing there. He's not really dancing much, and when he's particulating in these extracurricular activities. This was last June, guys. When he's particulating in these extracurricular activities, you typically, what is it, these weird people on Twitch? You typically want to, you typically should be dancing, and he wasn't dancing, so I put the SPIRITHOOD on him. And once I put the SPIRITHOOD on him, he put these glasses on just like this. I don't know where he went now. He put these glasses on just like this, very similar, maybe even been these ones. And then all of a sudden, he was lit up. His life changed. He started dancing. He basically had a life epiphany at this moment once the SPIRITHOOD hit his head. And as you can see, now Lefort talk. You got to talk with him to see the SPIRITHOOD, kid.
I know. I didn't want to yet. Yeah, this is my SPIRITHOOD.
And then the next day after he put the SPIRITHOOD on for the first time and his life was unlocked, he had to go buy a SPIRITHOOD. So we ended up going to a place in MGM Grand, I believe, and we found one with minutes to spare before it closed.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
What have you been doing with that SPIRITHOOD since you got it, Sean? It seems like you've been having some fun with it.
No, it's been in retirement and hasn't had anything happen to it.
Why not?
I haven't been to any cool carnivals or anything like that. I've been wanting to, but I don't know. I've been busy. I've had other stuff going on. Went to Colombia, and well, we should finish off with the weekend. We should discuss what else happened that weekend with the EDC weekend. So basically, there was a big group of about 50 poker players that went for Donnie, who's a friend of the podcast. It was his bachelor party. And the next night was crazy to be with 50 people, 50 friends at a massive music carnival like that. It was just insane. It was a really, really cool experience.
Does anything particular stand out about that time? Because the only thing that stands out the most to me is that we had the most psychotic limo driver of all time who was driving on the shoulder in traffic and basically saved us 1.5 hours with the most ridiculously out of line TOS breaking driving I've ever seen in my entire life, basically.
Yeah, that did happen. Yeah, I don't remember anything specific. It's tough. Like things like that, like it was an awesome experience, but I don't remember anything storytelling worthy really. But
I remember
let's do it again this year.
Are you going to go again this year?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a 20-hour group again, or a 50-person group again, you think?
Probably not.
I think I'm going to go again this year. Last year, I don't know, you guys, after the first night, I wasn't partaking for some odd reason. I decided to be GTO. Did I go the third night? I don't remember if I went the third day or not.
I don't think you did.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
That's right. You didn't.
Yeah, and somehow you went out to these things all day, all night, and then you were up at like 11 a.m. hitting the gym. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, how are you possibly going to work out? Like,
I had some serious afterglow. That's what it was.
After what?
Afterglow? Do you know what afterglow is?
No, what's afterglow? I thought you said something else. What's afterglow?
Afterglow is when you partake in extracurricular activities, and the next day you actually still feel a lot of the hormonal effects of them. So instead of having it down, you actually have another up.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes sense.
The only reason I know that is because I was so shocked by it. I didn't know what the hell was going on, so I Googled it and read about it, and it's a thing.
Wait, I think what are you planning to do for Vegas this year? Are you going to be going? Yeah, I thought he said Afterglow too, Chevy. Yeah.
Honestly, I've got four different potential reasons to go to Vegas in the next like 4 months. So I've got 2 different sets of friends that are going, like both before and after the World Series, and then I've got all the Pot Limit Omaha events, which are going to be, they're actually spread out a little more this year. So we're in like 10 days or so. And then EDC is actually a little bit separated from them. So I don't know. I'm just going to basically play it by ear. And if I decide I want to go for whatever, I'm just going to explore the moment, get on a plane. Because the other thing is, like, Toronto is awesome in the summertime. And I'm not going to just commit to going to Vegas unless I know that it's going to be the fun thing to do. So we'll see.
You having a little lag on your end today.
Yeah, I noticed that with you too.
Yeah, I think it's probably on your end. It's been pretty good for the podcast we did yesterday with Dan. It was pretty good. So I don't know. I mean, normally whenever you sit there, it works pretty well. You go to the bathroom 25 times and then, it doesn't really lag too much. So
is there anything I can try to do?
I don't know. I'm not an internet pro. Maybe we're live on Twitch. We're live on YouTube, guys. Maybe one of the internet pros out there knows something. I'm not sure. Let me check. I don't think I have anything. Let me see something real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Let's move on to the PLO topic. I'm just going to shut my other computer down for a sec.
Okay. All right, guys. Guys, if you have any questions or comments during the stream, you can go ahead and let us know. We got my boy Doug Polk, a.k.a. Upswing Poker, in the chat, one of the biggest winning players that ever streamed on Twitch in the entire Twitch existence in the house. What's going on, Doug? Puppy. Cameron Martin. What's up, Cameron? Joey is micro stakes of the internet. Yeah, that's pretty true. Oh, is it my internet that's lagging? Oh, well, if it's my internet, then shit. I don't sense much lag. Okay. Lefort is the kind of guy who would beat you at poker, then beat you at tennis, then. Yeah, I kid. Yeah, but so if you're on let's go to EDC then if we're out there again this year.
Deal.
All right, sounds good. I'll plan to give my life away for those 3 days. Last year when I went to EDC, it really fucked up my schedule for the rest of WSOP though. Like for the next week and a half, I was trying to get my schedule back on track and get my body to not feel the effects of all night dancing basically. So that was the biggest challenge for me. I felt like it really threw up my routine and my rhythm when I was out there.
Well, if we go this year, we'll play better.
That sounds good. All right, PLO. So you obviously you're getting primary games, heads up PLO. Yeah. And PokerStars made some changes, couple changes. They raised the rake, they lowered rake back at those stakes, and they changed the way the system works in that it's all Zoom now and no more regular tables. So now we're 4 months in, we're April. A couple of changes have only been in effect for a couple of weeks or like a month or something like that. What's been the effect on your own personal approach to poker and the amount of volume you're getting and just that in general?
It's had a huge effect. Yeah, so basically most of it's consolidated my action essentially. So PokerStars is over 90% of the heads up action that occurs. And it used to be that you would, spread out all your open tables on whatever sites you're playing, including PokerStars on all the different stakes that you're playing. And, that's my Tuesday morning and just, hopefully get action, hopefully find people to play. But now that doesn't occur on PokerStars, so there's either action happening or there's not on PokerStars, right? And when there's no action happening, all of the other sites that are running, essentially it's not worth my time to sit there and hope for getting action on those other sites. So what it's done is it's made my grind turn into either action on PokerStars and I play poker, or there's no action and I don't play. Which gives me a lot more free time. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like I used to hang out at the computer because I have tables open and I might get some action, but it's not really the way it happens anymore. There's either Zoom heads up, some sort of heads up happening on Zoom, or there's not. And what that's done is it's basically consolidated my action to whenever there's action running on the stars.
No, I mean it makes sense. It's like that's what the Six Max Bum Hunter approach is. That's what their approach is, because they open up all the sites and they have their script set up for each site. And whereas you're not really bum hunting, you're not bum hunting, but you're that's how heads up sort of works. So that's how it goes.
Yeah, there's actually a bunch of other things that have happened too. So like the rake effects cause a lot of the stars regs to be more active on some of the non-stars sites. And I used to get some heads up action on those sites just because like a fish would sit at like a 6-max table and I'd get a bunch of heads up action before it would turn into 6-max. But that doesn't really happen anymore. And there's very little recreational players in general on any of the other sites, to the point where like there's just, it's almost not even worth having, you know, like whatever, 40, 50K on the site when it's just sitting there all year long. And you're not even getting any action. So yeah, it's gotten to the point where I can't even justify sitting at the computer waiting for action with these tables open, because you're just not getting enough of it. Like my time would be better spent doing something else, which is going to be a segue later. We're going to talk about what I am spending that time on. But it's interesting how the Zoom format has changed the action as well. So you never have a big fish anymore, because every time there's a big fish, it creates a big pool. And vice versa, you never have, like I'm never just battling Hollywood Axton heads up over 3 tables anymore, because we don't really have the incentives to do that anymore. Like it's basically the action is never quite as good as it used to be, and also never quite as bad as it used to be. It's always just kind of like decent, you know, if that makes sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm just
a reason why, you know.
Yeah, people. I'm just looking at the chat. People are saying there's a bit of an echo, and yeah, I'm just getting. Let me turn my note. I'm getting a lot of lag on your end, so I'm just trying to. I don't think it's anything on my end, but yeah, people. That's what I'm sort of a little bit distracted by the by some of the comments here in the chat. Did you maybe it's too closer to his biceps. Could you want to try restarting your computer and come back?
Okay, how about now? I just moved my computer back. I moved a little bit further back, and I'm not talking as loud. Maybe that's better? No,
I think it was. I think we'll see if it's better. Yeah, we'll test it out and see. Guys in the chat, let me know if it. Yeah, maybe if he logs back out, log back in. Yeah, that sometimes helps. Do you want to try that?
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Live. We're doing. Sometimes we get a little bit of technical difficulties here. So yeah, hopefully we'll get it fixed. Make it more GTO for Lefort. And this one, that's better. The Spirit Hood will fix it. Balky says. Ruel Franklin, that's better, Poppy. We'll see. Lefort, close anything that uses internet. You should also try restarting. Yeah, I remember Doug in the past had to do restarting too. Who else we got? Some shout outs real quick. Epic Hazel Time. What's going on, buddy? Adam K. What's up, Puppy? Casper Goes. What's up? What's up? Alex T. Now I can't see his shoulder situations as well. All right, back in the house.
Hey.
Okay. This should work better then. All right, so we're talking about the heads-up situation. So you mentioned there's no incentive to play other regs like Hollywood Haxton, and that's because the rake got. Essentially the rake got raised a bunch when they take away rake back from those games. Yeah. You know, that's essentially them raising the rake. So you're saying that the rake BB per 100 is just so big that there's really no incentive to reg battle at those stakes?
Yeah, and there's also a little bit more action. Like if you are one of the top players, and in the former system, you would not get very much action, right? But nowadays, as soon as a recreational player sits, and I join the pool, everybody's forced to play against me. So I'm actually getting in more hands. And when you're getting in more hands, you're less incentivized to take tougher matches because I'm getting in a good amount of volume, right? So that happened. And also the rate. Obviously, when you're getting raked that much, you're not getting any rake back. It makes a pretty sizable difference when you're playing these maxes against other really good players and the edges are small. So, yeah, it's changed. How's the lag doing?
It's getting a little better. It's getting a little better. Certainly a little bit distracting. So I'm making my way through it though. I definitely understand what you're saying though about the action. I guess in that approach, you know, what can you do? You can either, I mean, I guess the only answer play less or play more 6-max or play lower stakes or just don't play at all, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've thought a lot about that, and for me personally, I'm ready to move on from poker. If I were to start learning mixed games or get back into playing more 6-max, it would take up a lot of my time and energy, and I don't have enough passion and energy for poker anymore for a lot of different reasons. I've been really introspective in the last couple of years, poker-wise, as far as how poker affects my life, and I'm really excited to get to a point where it's not a very large part of my life anymore, for a wide variety of reasons. And so because of all that, I've kind of decided that my time when there's no Zoom running is better spent taking up something new. And I'm still entertaining different ideas for what that something new is going to be. But we can talk about that later when we get into investing and stuff. We'll stay on the poker topic for now.
Okay. So how do you think the overall player pool has changed on PokerStars since you've seen it? And I don't know how much you pay attention to the 6-max games, but how has it changed at 6-max, or how has it changed at Heads Up? Are there just, the guys like Humicon and only a few guys who are really left battling, or what have you seen people drop down? Or I guess, yeah, how has it changed overall?
It's really interesting, actually, because when you change the way a system works, everybody's going to have their own ideas about how they think that they should approach it. And it's been really interesting because I've seen some regs that I think are actually pretty good pretty much stop playing. Like they just, I guess they just think that there's not that much edge there playing against guys like me, Kumikon and stuff. And on the other hand, there's some regs that I don't have a lot of respect for who are just always in there battling every day. So it's in a weird spot. But what's been also really interesting is how people have changed their strategies, because people are forced to play more hands against better players, right? So people can't just purely bump hunt anymore. And some players have changed what they do against me, which is really interesting because obviously with this new format, you get a different different opponent every hand, depending on how the pool's working. And it's really interesting. There's a lot of weird dynamics that happen because, so say for example, there's me, Kumikon, and say 1 weak reg that would not normally join the pool, but he's joined the pool because there's a huge recreational player. So there's 7 entries. When that weak reg gets hands against me, he's incentivized to first of all play it quickly, and second of all not get that involved. So oftentimes you get guys, depending on the player pool, I can have a read that somebody's playing very straightforward against me because I know that they're just in the pool to play against the fish, and they're not looking at it to run a huge 3-street bluff on it, So it makes for a lot of interesting situations, and you can kind of get a feel for how people are playing in the pool depending on what the pool is. It's a really interesting dynamic, the Heads Up Zoom format. It's changed the way Heads Up is being played, I think. Ultimately, what's going to happen is it's going to make people play better because people are forced to play better players, and because of that, they're either going to get better or they're going to lose and stop playing. So the level of play is basically more rapidly increasing. Ultimately, it's going to it's going to shorten the longevity of poker, I think. It's going to get quicker to a point where everybody is so good that edges are too marginal to even justify playing because the rig is too much.
I still think that's pretty far away, though. I still think there'll always be regulars that want to play in battle, especially when there's a fun player in there. There's always going to be guys who just, PLO, once you think you're playing at a really high level, you know, you can pretty much justify it to yourself that, hey, I'm gonna, you know, I'll play in this pool if it's, you know, one fish, one kind of fish, and then 5 other regulars.
I agree with you, but it's quickening the how long it's going to take to get to that point. Like I'm already seeing, I'm seeing some players play a lot better now than they were 6 months ago. And I know it's purely because they've been forced to play a lot against good players, and they've been forced to actually think about how to play against good players. When previously they had no incentive to do that because they were mostly bum hunting.
Right. So they really had no incentive before to work on their games because they just didn't need to. They're probably winning at a big blind per 100 or hourly that you know they enjoyed. They're like, well, I'd rather just, you know, kind of like you talk about, you know, how to spend your time. They probably figured, well, instead of spending my time working at this or getting better at this or learning how to do this, I'll just do something else because I'm still winning money. But now I can't do that. So you have to do that if you're going to stick around. And the people who don't want to do that aren't going to be stuck around, and they're going to sort of either drop down stakes or just not play anymore and do something else.
Yeah. So ultimately, to give a final summary of what I would say has happened for the impact of the games on me is I'm getting a bit more volume because I can partake in any volume that occurs, and I try to be extremely available between the hours away when I'm sleeping for any action that might be happening. And for the most part, when there is action, I just drop whatever I'm doing and just play. But the flip side of that is that I'm having a lot more hands being played against players that are pretty decent, which means I think the overall average edge has decreased. So I think for me personally, it's probably not going to make that much of an impact on my expected yearly because I'm getting a little more volume, but it's still against a little bit better competition. So, but I enjoy it. I really enjoy the format, and it's more enjoyable for me to be able to consolidate my action towards when there's Zoom running, and then when there's not, I can go do something else. And that makes my days far more efficient, and it gives me more time to get into other things. So I'm actually really, really excited about that.
I guess that makes sense. So when there's not Zoom running, as you talked about earlier, you don't really need to sit on the other sites because you're on a general day, you're not going to get enough action to really justify it for yourself. So that way, when there is Zoom running, you can join the pools, and then you can load up the other sites in case you get action, and then.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, some of the guys like Kumakon, he's still loading up all the sites and sitting there all day long, and I'm sure, you know, there's still a lot of value in that. But for me, I think the hourly of doing that when there's no Zoom running, I have enough confidence in myself and my intelligence and my abilities in potentially in other areas of life that I think my hourly is actually higher by educating myself on something else, getting into whatever it is, investing or different variations of something that I want to go to next, you know? So that's the way I'm looking at it.
No, it makes sense. Like your potential short-term hourly could be less, but your long-term hourly, by spending more time focusing on these other things and getting better at that, is going to actually be much, much, much higher. Whereas if you just stuck with making a higher hourly, you know, at this current day and time for the next year or two or whatever, that might actually hurt your long-term hourly in these other areas.
Yeah. Plus, like, it's boring as fuck to just sit there and open up all these tables and watch, you know, the Joey Ingram podcast, or, you know, no, I'm kidding.
Bang, bang. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I just find I don't like sitting at the computer unless I feel like I'm being highly active and actually accomplishing something. So for me to just kind of sit at the computer and veg for 12 hours is just go against my nature to do that. I have trouble doing it. So I'm really glad that I can justify not having to do that anymore.
Have you thought about joining the some of the high stakes games when they go shorthanded? Although I don't know how long the 51 or 100 or 200 games are actually shorthanded, but have you thought about joining those at all, or playing when there's a weaker player in those games, assuming you can get into the games? Or are you just really, I know you hate six max, so are you officially, I'd rather spend my time doing something else than even play in the six max games?
Yeah, basically, the best case scenario for my edge in those games is still going to be fairly small because I'm going to be playing a lot of hands against guys that are playing 500,000 hands in six max a year, and they're the best players in the world. So for me to think that just because there's a recreational player playing, that I have some edge that I just can't turn down, I think is a little overzealous. So if I were to get into those games, I wouldn't just dabble. I would get back into putting a ton of hours into my six max game, and I'm spent poker-wise. I just don't have the energy to do that anymore, and it's a very stressful format of poker, I find. There's just so much information playing six max, and it's when your polarized results are you either win a stack or you lose a stack. It's very easy to get caught up emotionally. It's a stressful grind, I find. Heads up is a little more cut and dry. You apply your strategy, make some tweaks according to who you're playing, and just go at it. And I've always enjoyed it far more than the six max grind. So that's where I'm at, and I'm looking forward to kind of riding off into the sunset for the next couple of years, playing my heads up, but mostly just also transitioning into other things.
Lefort, could you do me a favor and just try restarting your computer on your end? Because I'm not sure if I know people out there, it's lagging pretty bad for me. I just saw people watching it back. It could be a little choppy and stuff like that. And they need to get the pure wisdom out of here. So you restart, I'll give some shout outs here. Guys in the chat, who we got? I see some MMA discussion going on in the chat. Much love to you guys in the MMA world in the chat here. Jamal Sanders, what's up, buddy? Lee Jam 97, my boy Greg House, Brazil. What's up, Poppy? C Mart. The Amaze High Warrior, man, we got some weird ass comments. I gotta time out some of these comments in the chat today. The Twitch chat seems like it's taking over in here. Martin Van Dorst, what's up, bro? Alex T, my boy Chevy Cash. I'm literally taking notes. I think that if you oh, it could be Lefort's mic. Actually, that's true. No, I don't think it's too bad, but it certainly is not. It's okay. No lag here at all. A Cost says, what's up, brother? What is Lefort's audio going in and out for the people that are watching on YouTube right now? Ruin Franklin, what's up, buddy? Poppy Liam Kavanaugh, what's up, bro? What else have we got in here today? Adam Case, it's about me looking younger and younger every time. Thank you, sir. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's the lighting, honestly. The connection, it's good for me. It's normal to lag. The internet can't transfer Lefort's muscles. That's true. Poppy, what's going on, Jen? My friend Jen, welcome to the live stream, Jen. Good luck at the poker tonight. Seems fine to me. Chris says no lag. What the fuck? Hola, my boy Daniel. What's up, brother? Welcome, welcome. Epic Hazel time. It's okay not lagging here also. All right, cool. We'll see. Silver says, wasn't too bad, but every 10 words it would lag for half a second, kind of tilting. Can I get a shout out one time? Matt Carlson says, what's up, Matt? Mark says, a little bit of lagging. All right, so yeah, we'll see if this helps, and if not, we're just gonna fucking make it work. It's just really distracting when he's talking and trying to say a point, and then it, like, I don't know, goes in and out and stuff like that. So just in case it's not GTO out there for some people watching. Prefer to see if this works. What do you think about drinking where one Lizini says, what do you think about drinking where one has to drink each time GTO or Poppy is said? Well, you're gonna fucking probably die if you do that. Epic Hazel time, can you play a solo on your guitar as a jingle? No, I cannot do that. WPLAZ on Twitch, what's up, bro? XPacey1, what's up, Poppy? Waiting for Lefort to come. He's restarting his computer now, and he's probably going to take a bathroom break. As we know, he needs to take at least 15 to 20 bathroom breaks a day because he drinks so much water during the day to maintain his top form physique. So, Jonathan25 says, I'm not gay, but I'd let Lefort. Okay. My boy Ivan, what's up, Ivan? Papi, como vamos acá, mamacita? 123 TMY, what's up, man? Silver 7. Our Ben 86 and Cumicon cross booking heads up action at 10:20. That's a great question. I will ask Lefort that, even though I know the answer to that question. Charlie Clark Williams, hope I didn't miss much. You did not miss much yet. We just got started here a little bit ago, and we're just waiting for Lefort to load back up the chat. And once he does, we will be getting back after it and getting started. So yeah, I think for anyone who didn't watch the podcast yesterday, I had Dan Coleman on, which was one of the most GTO wisdomatic podcasts I think we've done. He talked a lot about being a massive fucking degenerate. So if you enjoy hearing about a person who made it to high stakes and have a lot of success, be a massive degenerate, you can check out the Dan Coleman podcast as well. And on Monday, I think we're going to be having a young woman named Xuan Liu, tournament player in the GPL, on the podcast at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And coming up on the pod, I think we're going to have Fedor on again. Of course, we got to have Fedor on once every 4 months to learn more about the the fucking life pursuit of being president of the world that Fedor's on. And I'm trying to think who else we got lined up. We got a lot of people lined up. I just have to get a date with them. So I think that's all for right now. So yeah, Poppy, can you ask Cameron to calm down? I don't know what this guy's talking about, ball bulky. I was almost going to time you out, but I didn't know you. Fim Jim says, do you know why Jay Nandez went MIA from streaming? I think Jay Nandez is trying to turn his world into more of a businessman type of approach. So I think he's getting started on some sort of business, probably pertaining to poker and probably pertaining to PLO, because he basically wants to, I don't know, man. You know, he's going to try to do a Doug Polk, WCG rider, upswing poker type approach, I think, and going to try to make some money from that. Bradley B. Connor says, will your girlfriend be there for the Fedor stream? We are currently not playing chess anymore. One of us put each other in checkmate and was sent to Shower Cities. So that chess match is no longer going on, my friend. TJ Olazo Puppy. What's going on? What's going on? When is ADZ coming on? All right, we got to get this guy the fuck out of here. Neo Morph, what's up, brother? What's going on, Neo? I hope the full ring play for you, my friend, is going well. And I hope is full ring poker even exist anymore online? I'm not sure. So Lefort must have one of those computers. He must not have an SSD in his computer, because in theory it should restart faster than this. So we'll see. Clear Filler, what's up, Poppy? Thank you, much love. All right, Lefort, you're back. All right, let's see if this works. Some people are saying it's the mic, but you've never used the mic and it's been pretty good. So
yeah.
I don't know. Fuck it. Let's get after it, man. All right. So we were talking about heads. Do you have like a heads up ladder? I think LeMay was asking for a heads up ladder for the current potential. I know you like to be very informed on the players and play against them a lot to really come up with a proper heads up ladder. But do you potentially have one? And if so, who could it be?
I would love to talk about that, but I think I don't think it would be good games for me to talk about that. So I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay, why don't I name some names and you kind of tell me where you're. I don't even know who's been playing. I know Ansky, good friend of the podcast, has been playing Cumicon a lot heads up lately. And allegedly, I've heard there's slightly more action on the side that makes that match more interesting. Lefort, are you a part of the alleged Team Canada in these proceedings?
I am not. Okay. I made this.
Next question. Jesus Christ.
I knew that was going to come in handy at some point today, so I put that together. Yeah, next question.
Dare I say GTO preparation? I mean, I already know the answer to the question. I just allegedly, whatever. But who else has been playing a lot of heads up lately? Few. Barry Sweet's been playing. Who's been the guys battling out there?
Yeah, some of the 6-max guys, Vitek and Barry Sweet will play. I think, obviously they're really good at PLO. There's a pretty big change playing 6-max to playing heads up, and over time they've gotten better at that change. I mean, I'd say both of them are definitely, top 10 in the world, probably top whatever. It's really difficult to rank guys though, because if there's one thing I've learned about heads up PLO, it's that variance is huge to the point where you can have a double-digit edge on somebody, like a 15 big blind edge on somebody, and play 10,000 against them and lose a few $100,000, even after 10,000. Like, there are guys that I am just like 100% sure that I'm better than, that have won money against me over a large sample. And vice versa. There's guys that I've crushed for 10,000 hands that I know there's no way I have a huge edge on them. Like I have at best like a medium-sized edge, So it's really difficult to get a good sense of a ladder when all I have is my sample size, and I don't really discuss a lot of, who's the best or what the ladder is like with a lot of. I don't discuss a lot strategy stuff with other poker players. So from my perspective, you know, I have my ladder, but even then it's really difficult because I know some guys have run really good against me and some guys have run really bad against me. So it's kind of difficult to put that together. And I think that when Doug did it, he did it at a time where it was before the Heads Up Zoom. And I think the Heads Up No Limits lobby was so dead, kind of, even especially for him, that it couldn't hurt to make a ladder like that. But I think it would be really stupid for me to list who I think is the top 10 right now. I don't think it would. I think it would just like hurt the games. You know, it wouldn't make them any better. So.
Interesting. Shane Stewart on Twitch says LeMay plays in those games. He was just hoping Lefort would say his name. It was never to create more action.
Yeah, I knew that was also the reason. Yeah, he's good. I mean,
interesting. Who is Faith #1 Virtue? Epic Hazel Time said. I can't remember because he was playing on one of the streams I did, but I can't remember who Faith #1 Virtue is. Do you know who that is?
I know who he is. I know who he is in real life too. But it's a secret, so I can't say.
It's a secret? You said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to, I just tried to restart my Twitch stream with different settings to see if the lag would go away, but I don't think it did. So, oh well. We'll see what happens here. All right.
Lag is really tilting, eh, Poppy?
Yeah, the lag is tilting the fuck out. And the only thing that really tilts me, besides a woman yelling at me because I'm on vacation and I should come back home when I never go on vacation, is fucking internet tilt. So internet tilt really getting me fired up over. Or like when you're playing online and it starts tilting, that's when. And I don't think it's me because all the pods been working pretty fine. So yeah.
I don't know what else I can do, man.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay. We'll make it work. I'm just used to it moving so smooth. It honestly could be on my end. I don't know. I've been trying to change some shit around on my end. So yeah, it's pretty reasonable on your end. All right, cool. Yeah, so it might just be something in with my internet. I don't know. Tilting my computer. Who knows? Who knows what's happening with it? So we'll get it fixed. All right. So do we have anything else to talk about in terms of PLO, in terms of your future in poker right now? It sounds like it's pretty much the same now as it's been for the past 2 years or something like that.
Yeah, I'd say I'm probably a flip to be playing poker still. I'd say at the end of 2017. It's about where I'd set the line.
You said 2017?
The end of. So I could see in about 18 months from now. Would be like next year might be my last year. I could see. What I'm saying is I think that's about the line. It might happen a lot sooner than that. But if I were to set a line for it being 50-50.
Are you going to be playing any live poker besides the World Series of Poker PLO events, or is that the only live poker you plan on playing then?
Probably not. I don't really. This really turn me on. And there's just, I don't know, there's other things in life like that I want to do, and I'm still pretty young, and I feel like I can get into those things now, and it's better off doing that than hanging on to poker and then being 35, squeezing 3 weak years out of poker, and just being in a situation like I feel like I'm young enough that I can get into some other things still right now.
That makes sense. How old are you now? You're 33 or something?
31, Bobby.
31? Oh, I thought you're a couple years older than me. I didn't think you were just 1 year, almost the same age as me.
Yeah, September 25th is my birthday. I'll be 32.
32, huh? So, as your as your outlook on other parts of life changed? I mean, I know you've been like a bachelor for a while now, and you haven't really been. Are you thinking about maybe settling down with one woman, maybe get a child, get a little Lefort running around there, get a little GTO baby at some time, or are you not quite there yet?
It's an interesting topic. I mean, I'm definitely I definitely want to have a family someday, and I want to experience those things in life. But I'm in no rush to get there. I really enjoy my life as it is, and for me to want to settle down with somebody, it has to be something really, really special. But I mean, it certainly can happen. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm against the idea, but I also wouldn't say I'm in a standard single situation where I'm like, you know, really looking for somebody. Kind of in between that and not really being super, you know. So I kind of just enjoy my life as it is. Special. I cross paths with somebody special, and you know, maybe we'll look into seeing where that goes. I'm not seeing have anybody like that in my life right now. If that's your question.
Balky says we should get Lefort on The Bachelor. He will be a very GTO bachelor. Would you be interested in if we get a campaign started? Because I believe it or not, I actually know some people connected to the show now because I'm a professional person meter when I travel. So there's
I actually applied to be on Bachelor Canada a couple years ago, but it was really stupid because I actually put a little bit of time into having like a proper campaign, but it was clear that the Bachelor had already been chosen, and the reason that they set up it was more just for advertising to get the popularity of bringing the Bachelor to Canada. But anyways, yeah, I wasn't the Bachelor. You can't be the Bachelor in the States unless you're actually American.
Damn it, that sucks. Maybe they're connected somehow. Oh man, what about being one of the contestants on the show, vying for the one woman's love?
I mean, it would be a lot of fun, but it'd be really difficult because you're riding a fine line there between like taking the show seriously or just like having a lot of fun on the show. And I'd be more inclined to want to just have fun and not take the show seriously because, I mean, how can you possibly take that show seriously? But on the other hand, like I wouldn't want to like hurt the feelings of whoever the girl is or the girls are. So I'd want to be genuine and honest with them. So I don't think they would like me as a character because I'd probably I wouldn't be like emotionally unstable enough to do stupid shit and not care about it and hurt the girl or whatever. But I also wouldn't be serious enough to actually be like a serious person on the show. I'd almost just be like a troll, you know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'd like you on the show. I got to be honest, troll or no troll, they'd probably enjoy having you on, kid.
Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll look into it. We'll talk to your people. We'll have your people talk to my people.
Have your people talk to my people. Yeah, we could definitely try that. You know, I remember before when we first started talking, the first podcast we did, how long ago was that? Honestly, it might have been almost 2 years ago now. The first podcast we ever did, the secret Lefort episode #1 podcast, what was the most strategic podcast in the entire world, and only a few close people, or only a few people have it out there. You know, when we started talking back then, I feel like Instagram has developed so much over this past 2 years, and now there's like, before, I don't know if there were official Instagram professional, like that's what they do for a living now. I don't know if that existed to the extent it does now, but you were like on this Instagram wave way before other people were on the Instagram wave, I feel like. So you're probably feeling the benefits of being in the ground floor and knowing all the GTO strats and the approach to managing and maneuvering Instagram, huh?
I wouldn't say that at all. I actually think that there was a wave of people way before I started getting into Instagram, and when I saw what it was doing for their lives, that's when I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I have some free time. Why not? I mean, I'm a pretty like creative, artsy person as it is. Like, I really enjoy photography and the idea of capturing certain things in your life and kind of framing it a certain way and having an Instagram account like that. I think is really cool. And yeah, it took me a while to kind of learn the ins and outs of it just by having friends that have, you know, big accounts and stuff. But yeah, it's been cool. It's something I enjoy doing. It's fun.
So you said you enjoy like the different angles and stuff and taking photos and stuff. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
You want to walk us through the thought process that goes into your mind as you're debating, you know, which angle to take a shirtless photo from. I mean, so obviously, like you got a bunch standing up, you got a bunch sitting down, you got sometimes you're working out, sometimes you're so like, you know, what goes into, you know, proper mindset and strategy when you're sitting there and you're like, all right, this would be a good scene for a nice shirtless photo. All right, I'm gonna go jump and touch the rim here, and you take it at that, like, I don't know, people want to know, Lefort, can you help us?
Right. I'm gonna reveal a massive secret right now. This is huge. This is the most GTO strategy that will have ever been on your podcast. This one thing I'm about to say, it's gonna blow people's minds.
Oh boy.
You want to take amazing pictures. What you do is you take a video. And when you take that video, whatever it is you're doing, jumping up and touching a rim or whatever, you can go and press pause as you're watching it and watch it frame by frame. And pick the perfect frame where you look the best, or the perfect angle with the perfect lighting and the perfect timing, and turn that into a picture. And that's the best way to take pictures. So then you don't need to have a timer and take it 1,000 times. You just take a video of doing something and then break down the video and find a frame that's really cool. Boom. Head explode.
Huh. I'll be damned. Huh. So you're telling me in that situation, you have someone take a video of you, and then you just do things, and then afterwards you're analytically breaking it down frame by frame, figuring out in your mind exactly what's going to get the desired effect and outcome that you want to get from that photo. You calculate some numbers in your head, run some GTO, and then bam, you upload it, and the likes start pouring in.
You don't even necessarily need to have somebody take the video. You can just set up your phone somewhere and click the record button and go do what you want to do, and turn it into a picture.
All right, take video, break down frame by. How much time do we spend in the editing process? Is there like an app that you use to edit? You maybe take some fucking shadows away, or are you just so good looking you don't even need to edit the photos, kid?
No, there's some apps that you can adjust the lighting and stuff, and you kind of get it down to knowing what the best lighting is for your whatever it is you're on. And yeah.
Rice says you need a perfect camera then, though, to take a high quality picture out of the frame, and make sure you shoot high frame rates. Bum Ninja says.
You do if you want a proper photo, but you can take that photo and do all sorts of things with the filters, contrasts and adjustments, and make it look like a good photo, even though it wasn't really a proper good photo.
Okay, that makes sense. So I guess back to the question then. So how do you decide exactly? And it's like what some guy, I mean, you know, guys, like they ask you for tips. Like they want to know bodybuilding tips from you. They want to know Tinder to Instagram. I mean, that's what, like, do you get a lot of messages like that from people still about, oh, like fitness questions and Instagram questions and stuff like that?
A lot, yeah, I do.
Do you ever answer them, or do you just not answer most of the questions you get?
I try to answer most of them, especially like fitness ones.
But not the Instagram ones.
I mean, I don't really, there's not really, I don't know what you're getting at. There's no magic. I just sometimes take a video of something that I'm doing that I think is cool or whatever, and turn it into a picture and put it on Instagram. It's not like there's any, I don't know what you're getting at.
That easy, huh? I mean, kid, we're trying to, like I posted on Twitter today. You're playing at the highest level. Well, I don't spend much time on the app. You claim that that's the only place to meet attractive women these days. I'm not sure if I don't know that I've even tried that before. What'd you say?
But I do have. I never said that. What I said was that social media is changing the world of dating. With even Tinder and Bumble, for example, like your Instagram account can be directly hooked up to those things, right? So it's like you have this. There's this social image that you can portray, and I guess what I was getting at was with girls that are extremely attractive, if they're not quite, if they're not necessarily a model, but they're very attractive, they can have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers, and those types of girls are not just like. They're not just meeting guys on Tinder, that's for sure. Like, you're not just going to meet those girls on Tinder. That's what I was getting at. they've got offers from people like Dan Bilzerian saying, "Hey, come party with me on my yacht this weekend." And if that's the lifestyle they're living, they're not exactly accessible to the everyday Joe, unless, of course, you build up an Instagram account as well. Have you guys heard about, or have you heard about Raja? I believe it's called Raja.
Raja? Is that a person or what is that?
Okay, so I might actually have the name wrong, but it's this like underground Tinder or like dating thing for Instagram celebrities or real life celebrities. And basically it's, I don't remember the details. The criteria for getting on it are pretty intense. Like, but apparently there's like a lot of well-known celebrities that are on it. And basically, you know, all the really hot Instagram girls and different people like that. Yeah. Blowing your mind with this stuff.
I feel like, honestly, I whenever I talk with you, I just like, I learn all these things about this, like this other part of the world that I just don't know anything about. And it's interesting. It's fascinating. I don't know. It's something, that's for sure. It's very something. Are you on this Raja, or have you applied to be on Raja yet?
No, I looked into it. I'll look into it again. I don't have a lot of Instagram followers compared to a lot of people. Like, it's not like I'm Instagram famous or anything like that. I just have more than the average poker player. That's all.
I think you have like 11,000 Instagram followers at the moment in time. So
yeah, that's not that many. And it's also not even, the other thing about Instagram is like there's a certain like level of quality to your followers. So like if you are, say you're like a sneakerhead or something and you post a lot of things about sneakers, you're gonna have a lot of like 12-year-old kids that are following you, right? But if you're blogging about fashion and you're well-known, you have a well-known fashion blog, your followers tend to be, you know, like some older, more respected like Instagram people, and those are the people that actually make money with Instagram. They can monetize their following because they actually have a large exposure to people that are influential. So those are the people that can, or like the fitness world, those are the people that can like, you know, hold up a protein shake and make, you know, $1,000 for that picture because a million people are going to see it, and that protein company gets a massive boost in sales, right? So I don't have that type of account. I just have a bunch of people that follow me. It's not like it's not like I actually have a thing like fitness or fashion blog or anything. I'm just more like a general lifestyle, whatever.
So how do you think, I got to put some time sense in this one. I know people I don't know people out there like, we don't want to hear about Instagram any fucking more, but I find this weird thing interesting because there's people that do this for a living. Like their Instagram model is what they do. They're Instagram models. They fly out to go have sex with guys in different countries for money, allegedly, if you believe sites that you read and posts that you read and receipts that you read of this happening. It's just, I find the whole thing quite fascinating. So how do you think, like, you know, there's gonna be people that grow up, people that are growing up in this social media world, this Instagram model world. I mean, I wonder how that changes a large subsection of people here in like 5 or 10 years or 3 years or 3 to 5 years in terms of, you know, what people want to be when they grow up.
Especially when you think about, for example, people in high school, right? Like high school is such a hardcore social, like melting pot, you know? So like people's popularity, it's like everything. When you're 14 years old, like how many friends you have and how popular at school, that's like one of the only things you care about, really, you know?
Right.
If you're getting picked on and people don't like you, your life sucks. Like that's why some of these kids commit suicide. And imagine now with things like Instagram and Snapchat, like these kids literally walk around with a number above their head saying how many followers they have and how important they are, you know? And imagine, like, it's basically kind of quantifying social value, so to say, or not complete social value, but a certain aspect of it. It's crazy. I can't imagine what it must be like to grow up in high school with Facebook and you know, and being in grade 6 with Facebook, and like it's wild. But it's just the way the world's going, you know. the world's becoming more digital, just the way things are, and that includes who you are. Like a lot of who you are is you are Joey Ingram 1. That's a big part of who you are as a person, right? But that's completely digital, right? For you, it's YouTube and your podcast. For a lot of other people, it's their Instagram account, right? And it's just, you just have to accept it. I have a lot of friends that don't accept it. I think because for us that are in our early 30s, we kind of missed the boat a little bit in that we didn't grow up with it when we were younger to the point where we were forced upon it. So like, I have friends who I'll be at a party and I'll Snapchat something and they'll get mad because they think that everybody in the world is like seeing them doing like drunk and something silly, and like their workers are gonna say their coworkers are gonna, and it's like, no, like I only have a few hundred people watching the Snapchat. None of them know you. Like, don't worry about it. Like they just don't understand, and they look at it as like it's some evil negative thing. And I think a lot of people take it too far, and you know, they're so they identify so much with their social ego or their digital ego that it actually is a negative thing in their life. But for the most part, I think if you treat it properly, it can actually be a good thing, you know? If you embrace it properly and appreciate it for what it is, as opposed to get too involved in it, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of the things I've been reading, a lot of the smart people in the marketing world and the tech world say that Snapchat is going to be the biggest social media platform in two to 3 years.
Snapchat is awesome. I love Snapchat. Your Snapchat game is developing a little bit. I've been impressed with a few of your snaps over the last few months. I've been watching it. Every time I see the Joey Ingram snap come up, I always click on it and see what Joey's up to.
Yeah, my Snapchats get a little bit offline. I show a lot more skin in my Snapchats with me and various people than most people might do on Snapchat when I actually do it. It's not GTO though, is it? I don't know if that is, kid. You're the GTO pro.
I mean, it just depends on what you're trying to say, what point you're trying to get across. I have a lot of fun with Snapchat. It's the filters and stuff. It's really, I don't know, it's a fun app. My favorite thing about Snapchat too is that when you're if you talk to somebody on Snapchat, you see when they saw your message, so they have to reply immediately, essentially, which makes interaction with people far more genuine, you know? Like, and I don't even, obviously, like the people probably think I'm alluding to like talking to girls or like the dating life, but also just guys, like friends and stuff. Like there's times where you message a friend and they don't message back for hours, but for them to be, for people to have to be dedicated towards the chat, and then once they see your message, they have to reply immediately. It makes the chat more, it forces it. It's more genuine as opposed to like, you know, waiting to reply or whatever, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think whenever we chat, I just do it on Snapchat now because I know you're like always on Snapchat, so that's the best way. Plus, I like some of the snap. I gotta get some comments. What do you say?
I wouldn't say I'm always on it. To finish off with the Instagram thing, just to let you know, the last 2 or 3 girls that I dated, I met on Instagram. So it is a thing. Remember we talked about Instagram grind?
Yeah, we talked about the IGG grind. So
yeah.
How do you meet them on Instagram? I don't know. Like, what do you troll? Are you like going for are you hashtag hunting? Are they finding you? I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess what happened. They found you, commented on some photos, liked some of it. You saw they were attractive, followed them back. One or the other slid in the DMs, probably you, set up a date. They probably didn't live in Toronto, but maybe one of them lived in Toronto. One of them didn't live in Toronto. And then you took it from there, and then, right?
Close. They didn't live in Toronto. I flew them in.
I was almost gonna say that. I almost said that. Damn it. Okay.
But, no, I actually DM'd them. But the thing about Instagram is like, okay, so say you're on Tinder, right, or Bumble, and you match with somebody, right? You have like 3 pictures and a couple sentences. That's all you know about this person. So essentially, they're basically nobody to you, right? Like, they have no social substance. You don't know if they're even a real person, right?
Right.
And for girls, girls are ultra sensitive to those things, right? So in order for you to get a girl's attention, or for a girl to care about giving you any of their time, they need to have valid reason. They need to have validation that you are a person in society, and not just a few pictures and a couple sentences and a guy chatting with them asking what their background is and what they do for a living, you know? So if you have an Instagram account and you message somebody and you have all these followers and you have all these pictures that are showing your life, you have all these comments, and you have this general theme to the types of things that you're into, they're all proof of the type of person you are. And obviously, you could fabricate an Instagram account, but for the most part, there's a lot more social substance there than just a few pictures. And never mind just Tinder. If you meet somebody at a bar and you're drunk and you've had a few drinks, or and you have a few drinks with them, and you spend 20 minutes talking to them and get their number, you still know very, very little about this person, right? But the nice thing with Instagram is that or even social media in general, is that if you, for example, watch somebody's Snapchats and they're very active on Snapchat for the next couple weeks, you get a pretty good idea of what type of life they live, what type of person they are, if they're the type of person that you would get along with, if you want to spend time with them. And so I found like the social media is a really good way to validate yourself to someone else and see if somebody else is worth your time and it's actually worth, you know, seeing each other and seeing if you hit it off.
All right, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on from this now because I'm already picturing something in my mind. we're gonna get back to this in a little bit. Let's talk about what you're doing now, kid. So obviously we've been following along with your venture into other things that aren't poker. We talked a bit about investing over time. Where are we at right now? You know, you mentioned before, we talk about it later. So what are you spending most of your time on now, and where do you foresee your future going in terms of what you're you know, putting, I guess, work or whatever, or the way you make money, or however you want to call it?
Value investing is going really, really well for me. So it's been almost 2 years. And the market, the S&P 500, over that time span has been up about 5%. And I've been up about somewhere between 15 and 20%. So I beat the market for a really good clip. On top of that, I think an even better indice or an index to compare would be the small market and the micro cap indices, because those are actually the types of stocks that I'm investing in. And those indices have actually done poorly. They've broken even, or even worse, like minus 5%. And I've beaten them by like 20% over less than 2 years. Obviously, it's a fairly short sample size, but it's gone really, really well. Now the problem is, I call it a problem, but it's not really a problem. I don't have to spend any time with it. Like, it's really self-sufficient. Every weekend, I run the software. I've got the strategy basically written in a code, so that I can run software, and it tells me if I need to make any adjustments to my portfolio. And if I do, it's just a matter of making a few changes on Monday when the market's open. And that's all. That's the only time I have to spend on it. It's very, very minimal and very passive as far as how much time it takes. So when it comes to having free time on a Tuesday morning, I wake up and have a coffee, I want to get some work done, and there's no action, it's not like I can really put it into value investing, right? So I've been looking for other avenues. And the two ideas, I boil it down to two possibilities. I really think there's a lot of money to be made understanding technology and emerging technologies. So basically, by being an expert in the next technological displacement. So for example, the next big thing to happen is going to be self-driving cars. I don't know how much you know about self-driving cars.
No, I've been just Tesla stuff. I followed it very small, but not too much about it.
So the next race, the big race right now between Google, Apple, Uber, and all the other big brothers wanting to take over the world is whoever's going to win the self-driving race, because self-driving cars are going to essentially change transportation around the world. Okay, so imagine the scenario in 10 years from now. You want to go across the city to dinner, and you call an Uber, and the Uber is a smart car that shows up with no driver, and you just get in the back, and it ships you to where you need to go. Nobody drives. Nobody owns a car. It's incredibly efficient because there's only a limited number of those cars necessary, because everybody doesn't need to have their own car. There's way less cars on the road. There's never any accidents. It's far more efficient with pedestrians than anything else. It's basically the GTO strategy for transportation in the world. So it's a massive technological displacement. And if you are up to date on everything that's happening in the market with those specific companies, and you are the one to know that Apple's going to win the race because they have the best technology and the best software, the best whatever, and you invest in Apple at the right time, and you invest in all of Apple's sub companies like NVIDIA is running their software for their self-driving cars. So you invest in NVIDIA and all these other different things. Like, basically what I'm saying is I think there's a lot of money to be made in being an expert in these technologies, these emerging technologies. So that's one thing that I've been looking at. Is, and there's also startup companies, right? Like you have like different startup companies in the tech world, and really there's, you know, the markets I think are the most inefficient with those in those areas, because if they're new technologies, they're new to the markets, and the markets don't understand them. The general average investor doesn't know how to value this, doesn't know how to value Snapchat, because they don't have Snapchat and they don't understand it, right? So like, that's what I'm saying is these, I think when you, if you're really educated on all the emerging technologies that are displacing things in the world, there's a lot of money to do. So I've considered that. And the other thing that I've considered is getting into some facet of trading, essentially, which I think is really interesting and enticing as far as the opportunity. So when it comes to investing, typically two different categories: the value investing, which is the Warren Buffetts of the world, who are buying a stock or a company, a stock in a company because they feel like the value of that company intrinsically is higher than it's currently being valued at. So it's called fundamental analysis. You're looking at all the fundamental numbers of the company. You're looking at their profit margins, their revenues, their earnings, and you're concluding that it should be worth this, but it is worth this. So there's a lot of value there, so you invest in it, and you hold on to that company until the value reaches its intrinsic value, and you have a portfolio full of these companies, and your portfolio grows over time. You slowly make changes because this company reached its value, so you swap it out for some other company, and that's value investing. Day trading is essentially looking at behavioral economics, looking at trends, called technical analysis. So a lot of it is thinking about what the general public, the general average investors are thinking about when they see the movement in the stock, and trying to predict the next little movement because of what's happened in the past with the stock. So you're not looking at the product, you're not looking at how the company is run, you're not looking at its earnings, you're not looking at any of those things. You're looking at all these other variables that are very minute details of things that are happening right now today. You can almost look at it as a fundamental analysis, and value investing is like GTO strategy, while day trading is like hyper exploiting if you're going to put it into poker terms. So the trading part interests me. The reason I haven't gotten into it before was because I just didn't have the time commitment. But now that I have the time commitment, I'm entertaining the idea of getting into it seriously. It's going to take a long time for me to learn, given that I'm starting from scratch. But I think there's a lot of opportunity for somebody who is intelligent enough to figure out how to make money doing it, also has the capital to do so, but are not confined to having a career in the industry. So the reason I say that is because look at Jason Strasser, for example. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I know who that is.
Okay. Do you know his story?
I don't know much. I know he's an older school poker player. I think he works in a hedge fund in New York City, I believe.
Yeah. Perfect example. So he is a really smart guy. He was one of the best poker players in the early days. And then he got a job on Wall Street. He went to school to be into investing. And now he trades. He actually managed the fund, which is, I think it's like $100 million now. So basically what I'm saying is that the types of people that are smart and can figure out how to make money trading tend to fall into this avenue where they develop a career in the industry, where they work for somebody or they manage their own fund. And what that does, it confines them to the large cap companies in the market. Because if you're investing $100 million, the majority of the market, all the companies, are too small for you to invest in. Okay? And when you look at the small company, for somebody that's investing $1 million and splitting it up amongst, and has the possibility to split it up amongst these smaller companies, because none of the smart people that are experts with all the big money are looking at these smaller companies, there's a lot more value to be had, essentially. So it's much more inefficiently priced, both from a value investing standpoint, but also from a day trading standpoint. On a day trading standpoint, with these smaller companies, they're not getting as much attention from the experts. So if you're the one expert that has the right amount of money to invest in these things, I think you can do really well with it. And the tricky part is getting good. Obviously, it's funny because I've actually seen in my like preliminary research a lot of parallels with poker. Like imagine, Joey, that you didn't know anything about poker, but you decided today that you want to get really good at poker, right? You're probably going to stumble upon 2+2. And once you start reading all the stuff on 2+2, you're going to think, okay, most of this is bullshit. But it's clear that there are some people, some smart people there, like myself or yourself, that are knowledgeable about the game and know their stuff. But they're not incentivized to just give information for free on 2+2, right?
Right.
So it's really difficult. Like there's not a lot of free information out there to just figure out how to get good at trading or how to get good at investing, right? And if they're being advertised as giving you this information, it's probably bullshit, because why are they doing that when you make more money just doing the strategy on their own, right? So you kind of have to figure it out on your own. And that's, I'm looking at it as that as a potential challenge to see if I'm capable of doing that. It might take a year or two before I'm even ready to start investing seriously. But ultimately, I think what I'd like to be doing is using the value investing as a way to grow capital and store capital. And as I transition out of poker, transition into trading for a way to develop capital, because that's essentially what I'm doing right now, developing capital through poker, investing in and growing it through value investing, right? And essentially what I'd like to do is kind of take trading and have it over time take over what I'm doing poker-wise. And I think the other reason there's opportunity, I think, for somebody like me to get into trading, and for those watching that are in trading, they're probably all like, thinking that I'm being very naive, and I probably am. I understand that it's a massive, massive thing for me to get into, given I don't have a background. It's going to be incredibly challenging. But I think previously, a lot of the smart people that could succeed with their skill set at trading assumed that they needed to get a job with a hedge fund or a big company in order to succeed and to learn. And they needed to go to school and go to, you know, whatever business course or class. And I think the world is changing to the point where it's possible to self-teach yourself anyway, you know, with the way the internet is. And it's also possible to be really successful without needing a corporation behind you to do it. And that's kind of what I'm seeing as a potential opportunity, I think, is getting into it, but not getting a day job where I have to work 70 hours a week for a company. I think it's possible to do it on your own and succeed. So there are certainly examples of it, and it's kind of one of my preliminary research things is to track down some of these people who have done it and see if I can contact them and if they're willing to you know, work with me or at least give me some sort of direction.
That was the longest anyone's talked in one consecutive time in the podcast history. I was just listening, kid. I'm sitting. You sound very fired up about all this. It's funny when you talk about poker and you talk about this. You know, poker, it's like, you know, not much to say, but this, you got like 10 minutes of words to say about different things. You know, you hit on so many different interesting things. You mentioned some potential dream machine software that automates your stuff when you wake up in the morning. You don't got anything to do. Is this software publicly available, or is this like privately something kind of software that you use to manage your stuff?
Basically, all it is it filters the universe of potential companies to invest in down to potential candidates given my parameters that I've set out with whatever numbers of all their accounting numbers and revenue and earnings and everything. And to not have to do it all manually, I had a poker friend of mine who knows code well enough to write it into code, and I just literally have to run the program, and the output is basically exactly what I need with all the companies, the best candidates. And no, it's not public, and I'm certainly going to keep it to myself, because if it ends up being really, really successful, it could be worth something someday, packaging it up into something. Yeah, what else would you like to know? Oh yeah, as far as the passion thing goes, I mean, that's kind of the reason why I'm really excited about it, because I just haven't had a passion for poker in at least 2 or 3 years, just because I've seen the deterioration of it. And it's difficult to have passion and incentive to get better at something when you don't see yourself even doing it in a couple years. So to have something new to get my teeth into has really kind of lit a fire. By the way, it's only been like a week since I've had this idea of like getting into trading. So it's possible that if we were to do this podcast in a week from now, I would have this really funny story about how 2 weeks ago I thought I was going to be a day trader, and then I looked into it and I would realize it was like way not even feasible, and it was really silly of me to even think about it. So it's probably not something I should even talk that much about until I put more work into, but my preliminary findings are that I think that I have the proper skill set to succeed, and I think it's something that I could enjoy doing. I'm at least willing to put in the hours to see if I can do it and see if it's worth my time. And it's exciting. I mean, the people get really, really rich in the investing world. People get rich in poker, but they don't get really, really rich, you know? And I think with the poker world, I kind of hit a ceiling of wealth as far as I can make money playing poker still, but it's not going to change it's not going to put me in another echelon, right? I'm never going to get to the next echelon in poker, and it's possible to get to the next echelon in investing. So that's kind of got me excited.
Man, now you just give me more follow-ups every time here, kid. So, I mean, if that is that what you want, is you want to get to this next echelon, you want to have the most money in the whole entire world, or, I mean, it sounds like that's one of your big goals here.
It's not that it's a big goal. I mean, I think a lot of people that do that and are on that road are attached to it and identify with it such that it's important to them, and then the money is part of what they do. Like for me, it's just a challenge, you know. Like I'm an academic, sophisticated, tight-minded person, and if I don't have something that's fun and challenging, then I find my days are a little bit bland, you know. Like I don't have that fire in me, and it's such a big scale, the investing world and the trading world, that's kind of what excites me about it, is that the odds are against me and I don't have much of a background in it. And it's a really fun challenge. So it's not really about the money. The money just happens to be the way you keep score in that game. You know, poker's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's a game and you happen to keep score with money, right? So it's the game though that I'm interested in.
You mentioned about day trading. There's a lot of poker players who don't play poker anymore because they now day trade in America, especially. I know there's a place in Chicago where I think minimum 10 day. Some of them are probably listening to this right now. Shout out to them. But there's like 10 plus that work there and they day trade now, and they've picked it up, and some have done pretty well in terms of how much they're making. I'm not quite sure, but it seems like they're having success with it. Even people I know before weren't very good at poker having success with it. So I think it's, when you talked about, you know, you might sound like naive thinking it's not hard to learn. I mean, if some of these guys learn, I can't imagine that it wouldn't be, if you put the hours into it and you put the time into it, you know, it should be something to pick up.
It's actually on my list of things to do, is to contact all of those people. I think one of my best skill sets in life is I'm incredibly resourceful. So when it comes to figuring out something new, I'm really good at starting at Google and just going for a few hours, finding things, sifting through the bad information really quickly, figuring out quickly who is smart, making a list of the smart people, finding everything that they've done on the internet, every bit of information they've released, getting their contact, talk to them, send them an email, find their email, you know, call them, whatever, get information. Like I'm really good at being resourceful to dive into things. I'm looking forward to employing those skills, because I haven't really had an opportunity to do that, to use those skills, that skill set. But going back to the poker thing, I think the skill set needed to succeed in trading is like basically all the same skills that poker players use. And it's funny because I've read maybe a dozen stories of like, you know, some kid who turned 10,000 into $1 million day trading. Pretty much everyone was like, at some point in the story, they mentioned that they played online poker, or they started out by playing online poker and then they got into trading. Like, so it's very, the skill sets are very similar. But where I differ is that I'm getting into it without going to a firm in Chicago or without getting an education, and basically attacking it on my own. And that's where I'm saying I could be naive thinking that I can do that, because I'm going to have to obviously find some areas or find some ways to have guidance. So that'll be a challenge for sure. But for anybody who's wondering, I'm not about to just like put half of my net worth into trading tomorrow. Like I'm well aware that it's going to be a long road before, you know, I might be willing, but I'm hoping it correlates really well with poker riding off into the sunset, right? So in a year from now, I might only be playing a little bit of poker, but be doing a lot of trading, and then that means I've got a whole year to figure out how to trade while there's no games running. You know?
Mr. Ravad on Twitch says, "I'll bet my whole roll on him crushing whatever avenue he attempts to conquer."
Thanks, buddy. I hope so too.
I think that's pretty true, though. I mean, I feel like it sounds like to you that when you're thinking about what to put your time into and what to put your effort into and find something you're passionate about, it seems like you would like one of the things to be involved is money, whether, you know, to win money or to gain money from it. It doesn't seem like, are you open to doing things that aren't necessarily, you know, scored by money?
the most competitive things in life are scored by money, because money is the thing that people value, right? So I'm attracted to the things that are competitive with smart minds competing against each other. And it just happens to be that those things keep scoring money. So it's like I said earlier, I'm not going to be the type of person that gets so caught up with the money that it identifies who I am, and it's like, you know, I reach some level of wealth that I change who my friends are, and I change my lifestyle, and I stop caring about the little things, or I get carried away and you know, partying on yachts, and that becomes my life. It's nothing like that at all. It's purely just the way you keep score in that other game, and like, I do think too that there's so much responsibility that comes with having money and having a lot of money, that I also take that on as a fun challenge. Like if I was just given $100 million tomorrow, I think it would be really, really, really fun to think about how you can be really efficient with that money and giving back to society, and giving like things like Red Charity, that's studying the efficiency of different charities around the world, and things like that are really, really cool too. And I've actually thought about getting involved in those things, and that's something that I think I could see myself doing later in life for sure. But for now, I'd like to still. I mean, I don't have as much money as I'd like to have, so I'm still attracted to those competitive things with money keeping score. You know?
You mentioned earlier about, actually, I don't know if you mentioned this, but we talked about hedge funds before. Have you put any more thought into the idea of some sort of hedge fund where people give you their money and pay you a fee to invest their money into certain things, or would you like to be more knowledgeable and more? I mean, I feel like you could do it now, honestly. How much you could get people to invest, very debatable, but I feel like that's something you could essentially start doing right now if you wanted to.
I mean, the thing about the investing world is you need a sample size. Like to just invest, just to have a good year. Like anybody can think a good year, right? So that is possible, but it's not in my short term, because I wouldn't want to take people's money with no background in finance, no experience in finance, no connections to anybody in finance. I've just come up with my own strategy that I think is good. I feel good about it, good enough to put my money into it, but I don't feel good enough about it to feel responsible for my friend's money, right? That might change after 4 or 5 years. If I have a really, really good track record, then at least I have some substance to show people. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. But the thing about that is, when you're getting into running a fund and managing other people's money, the game changes a lot, such that to be successful, you now have to have a really big side of yourself that's a business person, because to succeed, it's no longer necessarily directly correlated to your results. There are now other variables, like how popular you are and how many people, how good you are at selling yourself. And you are now trying to sell yourself to a certain type of audience. For example, people that are rich have money, and you have to speak their language. So, for example, if you look at Strasser's a newsletter for his company or his hedge fund, I remember reading one and thinking that there was a few buzzwords that he used that were really, really lame. And I don't like what he said, but I can completely understand why he said it, because that's what he's saying to keep his investors happy, because that's what they want to hear. But in reality, I think if you were to have an off-the-record talk with him and talk about those things, he'd be like, yeah, it's stupid to say that. You know, it's similar to like if you're a poker player saying that you're like guaranteed that you're going to have a 5 BB for 100 edge over the next month, because the people you're talking to need to hear that because they're investing in you, when in reality 1 month is such a short sample size that you cannot just attach a win rate to it. It's stupid to even say that, right? Because you're plus or minus 30 big blinds on either side, who knows, right? So, but to the people you're talking to, they don't understand that. You can't explain that to them. So you have to now sell yourself in a certain way to get their money to invest so that you get your fees and grow big and get popular. And so it's a different world, and I don't know if I necessarily want to get involved in it, but I don't know. We'll see. Who knows?
Give a shout out. I think we might have one of Lefort's friends in the chat. Victoria Chen in the chat. Hello, Victoria. Welcome to the podcast. Lefort, we don't have many women fans around here that actually watch the pod, but is this one of your friends?
Yeah, I think.
Shout out to Victoria. What's going on, Poppy? Or Mommy, I suppose. Who else we got? Every tip co UK. This show is starting to make me feel good about being unsuccessful. Adam K says, why? He says it's hard to say. Makes sense. Charisma 91, what's going on, bro? Balky, Show of Force. Daniel again, what's up? Nice to see you back. DGen 99, he's great at poker. He should stick with poker. Interesting. Annie Catherine says, please, Joey, ask about James Altucher. Yeah, do you listen to James Altucher podcast? Do you read any of his stuff? Do you watch any of anything that he puts out or anything like
that? No.
I'm not sure why. I'm not asking. He does a lot of he does a podcast that I may listen to. I'm not exactly sure what would it be. Would he be an investor? I suppose he'd be more of an investor type of thing. But I'm not sure if he invests in startups or what his main thing is. But I'm sure Annie on Twitch will tell me exactly what he does. So, are you looking more into ever thinking about potentially doing investments in startups that are, like friends of friends, or I know there was some. I remember my friend Chris Sparks, aka Go Muck Yourself, friend of the podcast, guest of the podcast. He was involved in something where he, companies would pitch him, and he would then invest in some of the companies. Are you potentially thinking about doing something like that, or is that something that's more down the road as well?
I'm actually invested in a startup company that's doing extremely well. I had the opportunity kind of to sell my stake for a little while ago, but I can't really discuss much more. And I didn't, and I'm still part of it. Things are going well. And I'm definitely open to more ideas in the startup realm and more investments. But again, there's one thing I've learned about life, is that in order to succeed in things, you need to be an expert. And I'm not just gonna Google some startup ideas and look at Kickstarter and start throwing money at things. In order to make good investments and become somebody who's really good at startup companies and investing in them, you need to become a startup guy. And right now I'm not. I'm a poker guy and a little bit of an investing guy, right? So it's possible. I mean, there's some overlap, right, in some of the things we talked about. So trading, value investing, emerging market, technological displacements, they're all related, right? So it's possible that there's some sort of hybrid. For example, day trading, I might become an expert in emerging technology, and the markets involved with those things, those companies, such that I can be an expert on day trading on them, and also an expert on value investing in them, because I can see trends with information that's come out about the certain self-driving cars and the technology, and I can have a better idea than the market what's going to happen today to this company and make money off of that, and also understand the fundamental analysis of all of these companies, such that I know to throw money into Apple for the next 6 months because it's going to go up a lot because there's self-driving technology, right? So these things, I think when you get involved with them, it's possible to really use your expertise. For example, we know a lot about the poker world. We know a lot about poker stars. We knew exactly what day the rate changes happened, exactly when the information came out. And I myself am very embarrassed that I didn't take advantage of shorting the Maya stock, because it's very obvious that it was going to tank hard. And it was one of those things that I had thought about, but I never actually took action. And we could have made a lot of money on that. We're experts in poker. Why are we not taking opportunities where we know more than the market knows? And it's really, really stupid and embarrassing that we didn't. for me anyways. So I think it's important to kind of realize where your expertise is and your niche, and take all the opportunities that come along with it, right? There's more to being a poker player than just being a poker player. Like, you know, you have other skill sets. Like, you understand the poker society and how they're going to react to rate changes, you know, things like that.
So you kind of want to tie in all these new potential things you could be learning and figure out a way to figure out something that we don't know what the answer could be. You know, it could be this, could be that, and sort of combine them potentially.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, I'm also kind of looking at them all as potential opportunities and seeing where I find my own needs. So I don't know, like, I might find, I mean, essentially what I'm doing is looking for where I see there's value and opportunity. My time is best spent. So I'm not sure exactly where that's going to be yet, but it's definitely transitioning out of poker into something else.
JDQB16 says, your streams have helped me become a better player and kick ass in the grunts versus pogs tournaments at Camp Legione, winning everyone's beer and dip money. Very important items among us grunts. I'm assuming that's the military of some sort, correct? Let me look up Camp Legione. Marine base. Shout out to you, JDQB16. If that allegation is true. It's nice to hear, man. It's cool to hear. July says, first one I catch live. What's up, papi? Como esta mamacita sabrosa? All right, July. I hope you catch more and say things like that, man. That's pretty cool. So, Lefort, you were doing a lot of bodybuilding stuff. You were putting out a lot of videos on YouTube. A lot of people were using these. I watched a couple of videos myself a couple of times. You put up some blogs in written form. Have you done anything with that lately? And I know the answer already. Why haven't you done more with that lately then?
All right, so that's a good question. Basically, I have a few beefs to pick with fitness worlds, and the more I've gotten into it, the more I've been soured by certain things. Trying to think of what to talk about first. First of all, on a personal level, I don't do it for a living. I do it as a hobby, right? So I'm an enthusiast, a bodybuilding enthusiast, a fitness enthusiast, right? And you go years, so I've gone 10 years, 15 years of training. I mean, I've basically been taking training more seriously for maybe 6 or 7 years. So I've gotten to a point where I put on, 20 pounds, 25 pounds, while also losing fat. And I'm at a certain level where I've made all these changes in my life and my lifestyle. It's been healthy and I enjoy it and I enjoy the grind. But for me to make further progress from an aesthetic point of view, the ways in which I would need to do that are there essentially sacrifices that I'm not willing to make in my life because it's not worth the change. It's not worth how it would change my life. So examples would be, if I wanted to put on more muscle, I'm already at a point where I have to eat a lot just to maintain. I have to train a lot just to maintain. And for me to even get bigger and put on more muscle, I have to eat extra more to the point where I'm always eating. That's the focus of my life. I'm not drinking any alcohol because that's just a huge deterioration to making progress in that. And so I'm not really partying. I can't really, go on a date and have a glass of wine and be up late because I need my rest tonight because I had a big workout today. So what I'm saying is, in order to kind of make more progress from where I am right now, I've reached a point where I'm not willing to make the next sacrifice. And I'm more so happy with kind of sustaining where I am, and I enjoy my routine. But what happens is that when you are essentially in a state of sustainability, I've lost that passion to make video blogs and be out there in the fitness world and write about these things because, I mean, they're just not on my mind on a daily basis because I'm no longer focused on making progress, So my fitness life has kind of changed such that my goals are different. It's maybe not as big a part of my life as it was a few years ago. And those are the reasons why. And the other obvious one too is if you are, you get to a point where it's naturally possible to be at the level I'm at sustainably. But for me to get much bigger or to get much stronger, and also sustain it, like a lot of that is going to come down to doing other longer term things like manipulating your hormones and taking certain PEDs and certain substances, and that's not really something I'm really looking into doing either. And it kind of goes against the idea of sustainability and balance, that Zen life. So it's kind of, I've kind of hit a wall, not a wall, but essentially tapered off to a level where I'm happy with my routine, and but it's no longer something I'm super passionate about. I enjoy talking to people about it, but not to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna sit down and make a video blog about a topic, you know. So it's too bad, because I did enjoy doing that, but it's just my focus is on other things right now.
Even with
the other thing,
go ahead.
The other thing too that I want to mention is, I'm trying to think of how to frame this best, but I see a lot of negative energy in the fitness world in different ways, and things that I don't like about the people and about the way it works, about the image of it. So on a macrocosmic level of what I'm talking about, the bodybuilding world, for example, these people, these huge guys that are all muscle and no fat and get on stage, are the epitome of health and fitness. You know, people look at them and they aspire to look like them, and it's amazing that they've done this with their bodies, and it's artwork, and it's amazing. But if you take a peek behind the curtain and see what these people are doing to their bodies from the inside out, and the things that they're taking and the extremes that they're putting their bodies through, they were on that path to ultimate fitness, and at some point they just crossed this line where they became obsessed with their looks to the point where it's no longer healthy. And I don't like how it's portrayed as this really healthy thing, when in a lot of ways it's not. I think they're making positive change. I think natural bodybuilding is becoming more popular. Guys in the physique divisions are a little bit smaller. They're not as worried about having these massive legs, and they're a little more, they're living more sustainable lives. But even then, I mean, these guys and girls, like, they're so obsessed with and so self-absorbed in these goals that, I mean, it's the only thing that they have going on in their life. And I also don't think it's healthy to be so focused on your aesthetics, and combine that with the supplement world. I mean, the way to make money in the fitness world is by selling supplements. Because the people that watch this video or watch other Lefort podcasts are like, oh, you know, Lefort talked about creatine, so I'm going to go buy the best creatine. And then they look at ads, and then this big juice head in a creatine ad, and they're like, okay, so that juice head gets paid because he was in the creatine ad and he's huge. But first of all, these guys are not taking most of the supplements that they're advertising, and those supplements are not. There's not a lot of genuinity behind the advertising, and a lot of these supplements are farces. I mean, you go into a GNC, and I mean, half the stuff in there, it's just like they just put a shiny box around some sort of capsule, and it's not going to do anything for you. They say it's a testosterone booster or whatever, but it's not going to do much for you. And that kind of sours me away from it too, because there's a lot of people, and I don't blame them, because there's incentive. There's a lot of people that say they're natural, for example, for the sake of being able to sell this supplement and say that this supplement is what made me look this way, when in reality they're not natural and they don't even take that supplement, but that's the only way they can make money, and I don't blame them for taking that opportunity. And so all of those things combined in the fitness world kind of really turned me off of it, which is too bad, because the fitness world at its whole, I love the idea of being being motivated about health, focus on health, but I just think that it's taken to too much of an extreme, and in a lot of cases, and I just don't see it as a good portrayal of like what I consider to be a healthy life. And I think, and I've got friends that compete, you know, and it's great. I cheer them on, and for some people, it's what drives them, and they love it. And you know, they've turned it into a lifestyle that maybe it's healthy for them, and they get along with it. But it doesn't turn me on enough, you know, to keep driving. And so I'm basically at this point now where I enjoy going to the gym and working out, but it's more of a sustainability thing. I'm not looking to, you know, get huge in the fitness world or anything like that. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I guess it, you know, something that you could use as a potential motivation sounds like is educating people on that. Educating, like through your video blogs and through your stuff before, you know, you say there's a lot of things out there that are being misrepresented and being, you know, sort of a lie. You know, you could be someone who's actually, you're doing this to provide people with positive information, with, you know, a better way to look at it instead of looking at it from that perspective, or seeing, you know, the big juice heads, as you call them, allegedly they're on the steroids, you know, who knows, but instead of seeing those guys and following what those guys take those products, well, then now you could provide some resources out there for people to, you know, a more realistic outlook on things, or a more realistic way you can go about it. And instead of, maybe if you don't do that, then they find something else that might lead them down a bad path. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, but people don't like realism. Realism doesn't sell. The pictures of the big juice heads in the supplement that people want to hear about, you know? People want to live the dream and hear about the dream. But I hear what you're saying, and yeah, I mean, I do, just not necessarily on a large scale, but my friends that I talk to and my friends that I work out with and stuff, like, you know, like I talk about these things, and there's like, I should say that, like, I don't have anything against all those, like that world, the fitness world. It's just that it's not for me. That's what I'm saying. You know, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or saying that there's all, like, I'm not saying it's hugely corrupt or anything like that. I'm just saying that it's not a world that I want to be hugely involved in. And, you know, I also don't want to come across as this negative guy that's throwing everybody under the bus and saying that a lot of these people are full of shit and these supplement companies are full of shit. Like, you know, that's not really fun being that guy either. And you know what? Maybe seeing that picture of a guy that says he's natural and has this supplement, maybe buying that supplement and seeing that picture is what gets people into the gym. You know, like, I mean, if that's gonna work, then I don't want to be the one to ruin it for them. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm no longer super inspired by that one. That makes sense.
Lefort, it sounds like you saw some shit, Poppy. It sounds like you went through something. You were experiencing something that really turned you off to all of this.
Not really. I just learned. I mean, as you get older, you grow and you mature, and you learn more about certain things. You know, I mean, I've always had these views. I mean, my blog still stands. The things that I talk about. I mean, it's just that I'm at a level now where I don't have the fire in me to you know, get bigger or put on more muscle, or it's a lot of work. Like, I have to eat a lot more than I would if I was 20 pounds lighter, 20 pounds of muscle lighter, 30 pounds of muscle lighter, and that's already enough work, you know. And the other thing too is, this is a whole other topic, but I don't know if we should get into this. I guess we will. Why not? Why not? Right? Why not? I basically come to the conclusion that I think in 100 years from now, maybe 200 years from now, if we're still here and everyone's still here and we're functioning as a society, we're going to look back at eating animals and think that that was just as stupid as slavery and beating women and sexism and being against gay people and being against all sorts of, you know, racial things, like, and I've entertained the idea of vegetarianism. It's really, really difficult for me because I struggle with it because part of me is like, you know what, I don't think we should be eating animals. I want to make a change in the world and I want to do the right things. But by making those changes, it would change my life and my identity so much because there's just no way I'm going to get enough protein to stay as big as I am and to train as big as I am, to be as strong as I am. And it's really tough to let go of those things. So that's kind of something else that I've been thinking about. And that's also obviously contrasting the world of bodybuilding where it's all about excess, eating excess food, eating extra food, getting huge, you know, and it's kind of like a conflict of interest there. So that's another thing that's kind of changed my viewpoint on things.
Show of Force says, would you go vegan, Joey? Why not? I would try it out. Why not? Is it something? Well, I guess you can't really try it out because if you try it out for a short period of time, you're going to potentially lose some of the gains that you have, and then you'd have to. I mean, I guess you'd have to decide: do you want to lose a lot of the gains you have and be a little bit smaller, be a little bit weaker, and sort of go backwards in some areas?
Have you seen the documentary Cowspiracy?
I've seen all of those. I've seen the cows. I've seen that one. I've seen the Food Inc. It's like, what was there's one like big one on Netflix I saw that was like really opened my eyes to all that stuff. I think we might have talked about something like that before. I think you might have told me to watch it actually.
Yeah. It wasn't Cowspiracy because I hadn't seen it.
No, it was something else. That was one I found on my own. I can't remember the first one that someone's gonna tell me in the chat. Which one?
Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
No, I haven't seen that one. Oh man, what is that one?
Anyways, the way that Cowspiracy frames the livestock industry, when you really look into the details of it, it's just so clear that it's definitely wrong. You know, it's just not the way the earth. It's very. It's just so obviously wrong. And it's difficult for us because we grew up in a society where our parents made us meat, and it's just normal for us to go to the grocery store and buy a bunch of meat, right? Our bodies also function well on meat, proteins. But I think if you look at the evolution of mankind, there was a reason for eating meat in the past. We needed to. We had to survive. And we no longer, like, you don't need to eat meat to survive anymore. You can go to the grocery store, there's all sorts of other types of food. So there's no longer really justification for taking the lives of things that are living when we don't need to. And even worse, giving life to things solely for the purpose of eating them, you know? That's the part that really I have trouble with. When Cowspiracy talks about the stats, like, I don't remember the stats, but I think they said something along the lines of there's more land on the planet Earth inhabited by animals that we are purely raising just to eat than there are people. Like, more of the land is for these animals than the land for the people. Which, yeah, pretty crazy. It's something like that. I don't know if that was exactly it, but when they frame it with the numbers, it's pretty staggering, you know. And I spent some time when I was in Colombia, which we should talk about next, with one of my friends who turned vegan over the past year, and he's an extremely analytical person, just like us poker players. He's a poker player, and he's put a lot of research into all of his decisions in life, including his decision to be vegan. And it's really cool to hang out with somebody who is vegan for logical reasons as opposed to emotional reasons. and hear the justifications for it, because it's very selling, you know, to hear somebody that's actually run the numbers on these things and to hear them talk about it and discuss it. So I could see myself being vegetarian in the next few years. It's going to be really difficult to do. And I'm not saying I'm anywhere close, but I have made some changes. I eat a lot less chicken and beef now, and the only chicken and beef I do eat comes from a local butcher where the animals were raised from local farms on pastures and given more respectable lives or more enjoyable lives than, you know, these. You just go to the grocery store and get, like, you know, that 12 chicken breasts, they're just sloppily put together with saran wrap, and that's like, and it's just like from whatever, like it doesn't say what farm it's from, it's just from whatever. Like, take a look at what lives those animals live. Not only like is the quality of the meat going to be really bad for you to eat, you're not going to be that healthy, but just it's tough to stomach what that world is. And I got to a point where I realized that I just can't no longer be a main contributor to the reason why those farms are there, you know? So at the very least, I can, you know, reduce my intake, because I was eating so much chicken and beef. I mean, when you're bodybuilding, like, that's the main staples of the diet, right? So tough, yeah.
You sound like you're in an inner battle right now with this idea.
A little bit, yeah.
An inner battle. This whole podcast is bringing out some interesting comments in the chat box here. I gotta say, I mean, listen, they're not constructive comments, most of them, but I feel like we're getting some very interesting comments from here. If you're eating
anything you want to talk about?
Not particularly, no. The thing I was thinking of was Food Inc., by the way. That was the one I was looking up to make sure. That was the one I watched. And don't watch it, guys. Don't watch it. Please don't watch it. Jonathan Drain says, if you're eating milk, don't eat the kind with the garbage hormones in it. Oh, wait, you can't. It all has that shit. That makes sense. So no milk's good? Is that what they're trying to say?
I don't drink milk.
No milk at all, huh?
I don't drink anything other than water and juice. Like, I juice. I actually take vegetables and juice them. That's and coffee. It's the only thing I really drink.
Brandon says, why don't you go full Joe Rogan and hunt your own meat?
Yeah, so that's something I've entertained the idea of, and then you can eat the animal head to toe and actually take advantage of it all. But I mean, it's actually, I mean, it's such a huge, like, task to undertake. I think it's difficult when you live alone and you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have a family, because I'm eating meals on an individual basis. Like, I can't just store my freezer full of a cow or something.
There's places you buy a freezer and you can store the cow there. You can go kill the animal and then store them in the place. Yeah, it's like apparently this is a popular type of thing to do for certain people. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard about this. Yeah, I was shout out to my ex-girlfriend, shout out to Erin. She was telling about this. She was like, yeah, you know, like I've been reading a lot about people that go kill the animals and they store it somewhere, and then I'm just like, yeah, I mean, okay, that makes sense. You could do that. Or if you don't have enough room to do it in a barn or in a basement or in wherever.
Interesting. I'll look into that. I'm going to take a whiz, and then we should come back and I'll talk about Colombia.
Sounds good. Let's do it. I'll do some shout outs here. Upswing Poker says, oh, no girlfriend, no family. I'll be your friend, Lefort. Shout out to Doug, man. Shout out to Doug. Who else we got? Still here in the chat. Vernon D-Backs, my boy Vernon. What's up, bro? Walujuski. What's going on, bud? Ruben M, Adam K. You guys have been leaving some interesting comments today, I got to say. Tim F, what's up, brother? Every Tip Co UK, what's up again? Puppy, Corasimo 91, Jadas. Like OE, raising animals not on roids is better. There you go. HB Gunner, what's up, brother? Johnny Look, no. My boy Joe Novella, I know he's out there somewhere. What's up, Puppy? Clio 111. What's up, brother? What up? Chavi Cash says, Lefort, are you dependent on your pre-workout? I can't work out without it. I actually started taking pre-workout when I need some energy. when I'm doing something on the computer, it works fucking amazing. But probably isn't GTO to do that. So, Lefort,
No.
you think it's GTO for me to be taking a scoop of pre-workout when I get on the computer and I want a little bit of energy to go do something?
Sure. One thing about pre-workout though is you need to be very hydrated, otherwise it's going to wreak havoc with your digestive system. Yeah, make sure that you drink a lot of water. Yep, there you go. There's a lot of people that just they take pre-workout and just immediately have diarrhea and accept it, and they don't really think anything about it. But diarrhea is not a good thing. If your body is body's doing that, it's trying to tell you something.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. So when you take the pre-workout and you immediately have to poop afterwards, that means you need to be drinking more water before, after, during, or all the time.
Well, there's a difference between pooping and diarrheaing.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Because I don't get the diarrhea, but it certainly makes me want to go to the bathroom sometimes. I've noticed that, yeah.
Yeah, that's the caffeine, right? But if you take too much of it and you do things like have tremors, and a lot of people have trouble sleeping and they don't realize why, and it's because they're taking 500 milligrams of caffeine a day, or they are having pre-workout at 6 p.m. before their workout, and they don't realize that pre-workout is going to keep them wired for 8 hours. So that explains why they can't fall asleep before 2 a.m. So if you can fit it into your lifestyle, I take a little scoop of it sometimes, or in situations where I don't have time to have a coffee or make a full coffee, I'll just have a bit of pre-workout or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one that I've been taking the amino energy stuff. I guess there's the NO Explode. It does. I think the amino energy stuff I'm taking doesn't seem as pre-workout-y as the other one. I mean, I'm not a fucking, I'm not a GTO pro on these things, but it seems like it could be better to take than other pre-workouts. It seems like some pre-workouts would be better than others in this situation when you need some daily energy, as compared to some that are sort of just designed for working out or for lifting, sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they all have very different ingredients. One thing about pre-workouts though is they don't need to list a lot of ingredients. They can list them as, they can patent them as some sort of name and call it some hybrid blah 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 complex, and then you don't really know what's in it. But I would definitely Google how much caffeine is in it, for example, because some of these products have 200 milligrams of caffeine in one scoop, and people will be they'll get to a point where they've been taking a scoop and then they want to have a big workout, and they're a little bit immune to the power of the pre-workout, so they start taking 2 scoops or 2.5 scoops. They take another scoop later, and then before you know it, you're taking 700 milligrams of caffeine a day, and it's just they start having problems, and they wonder why they can't fall asleep, and they wonder why they got digestive problems. You just have to be careful. It's really powerful stuff.
Hero Value says, if Sean doesn't drink milk, what does he have for protein / post-workout drinks?
It makes water with whey isolate, which actually doesn't have a lot of lactose. It has less lactose than concentrate. And I mix in a banana and some oatmeal and some walnuts or pecans and a little bit of ground up flax seeds, and I guess that's it. A little bit of glutamine. That's my pre-workout shake.
Are you the person that got me into buying protein without anything else in it, just the protein? Probably. I think that was you. You got me into eating nuts. You got me into drinking only water. You got me into thinking that if I maintain my diet and work out hard during the week, that on the weekends I can have a slice of pizza or I can drink an alcoholic beverage. And I use that. I use all the Lefort principles over time. They all build up. I think there was a couple Lefort principles you taught me on a kind of specific car ride to EDC one day. I'm trying to remember back there. It might have been. Yeah, the watch on the left hand thing. I remember that one. If someone's wearing a watch a watch on the right hand, they're left-handed. Was that what it was?
Yeah, usually.
Usually you can notice something about them. And what would you remember that in that car ride to EDC, the first or second? Which day? You told me like 3 things that were like very GTO at the time. I'm trying to remember specifically. It was around that thing. Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember specifics, but I remember the conversation. Yeah.
I remember the story you told me also during this time period as well too, but I don't know if the story is like a podcast specific story though. It was god damn it. I wish I remembered that GTO thing you told me. What is this gay TV? This guy says, Jesus Christ, man. Ay, puppies. Ay. All right, let's go Colombia, kid. Colombia.
All right, I was gonna do one more thing before Colombia just because it's on my mind. Have you ever heard of the term earthing or grounding?
Earthing or grounding? I maybe heard it from some crazy woman who was on acid one time, but that's probably it though.
Okay, so the concept behind earthing or grounding is that for the majority of our existence as animals, we had contact with the earth in the form of walking around on the ground. And in only the last 100 years or a few hundred years, we've developed these lifestyles where we live in cities, and anytime we're around ground, on ground, we have soles or shoes that are not conductive, such that we no longer have any contact with the ground, which may not sound like a big deal, but the theory behind grounding, or earthing as they call it, and it's actually much bigger in like ancient Eastern civilization, but recently it's being brought to North America. The idea is that when you are in contact with the ground, there's a balancing of electrons, or free electrons, so to say, between you and the earth, because the earth is conductive, and we are human beings, and we are also conductive. We have nervous systems, we have things going on. And the idea is that when we do have contact with the earth, it balances these things. And if you never have contact with the earth, you have a buildup of these free electrons that can cause problems, mostly inflammatory problems, which if you have inflammation problems, they can occur anywhere in the body and cause any sorts of problems, from your muscles to your digestive system to your headaches to anything that's going on. All your systems are dependent upon inflammation, right? Like inflammation in any of your systems is going to be a bad thing, right? Anyways, I don't know how I heard about it. I don't remember, but I think my mom actually mentioned it, and I watched a couple documentaries on it and did some research. There's actually recent studies showing more than just like before it was all empirical evidence. These people would start grounding on a daily basis. So they'd walk their dog for a few minutes barefoot on the lawn or whatever. And they started all of a sudden having no back pain when they woke up. They've had back pain for 20 years, and all of a sudden they don't have back pain. Or they used to have a rash and skin problems, and all of a sudden that would go away. Or all of a sudden they can sleep better. And there's all sorts of stories of people always say, oh, when they're on vacation at a resort, you know, they where they get a lot of contact on the beach, they end up sleeping amazingly that week. People get better sleep on vacation. There's a lot of like empirical evidence, but there's never been any scientific evidence until recently. There's actually some scientific substance to back up these claims. So I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna buy an earthing sheet, which I did, which is really funny. So basically, it's the sheet that you plug in to the wall.
What? Wait, hold on. A sheet you plug in, Lefort?
Yeah. So
they got the old shuffle on you, kid. All right, go ahead.
Hear me out. So you plug in this sheet, and it's $200, and
$200
goes into the wall, and it makes the sheet conductive, and then you sleep on it, and it's essentially gives the effect of grounding, that you have contact with the earth. And I bought it, and it arrived yesterday, and I used it last night, and I woke up. I don't know if it was a placebo effect, but I woke up feeling amazing. Usually when I wake up, I have some pain and aches in my neck, just simply from like the pillow and the way I slept or whatever. And I had 3 huge workouts in the 3 days prior, and especially a shoulder one yesterday. And I always wake up after a shoulder workout with tons of pain, just from like muscle soreness, like delayed muscle soreness. And I felt amazing this morning. I woke up feeling as though I had already been awake for a couple hours. Like I was just ready to go. And
give me the thing. I want it. I'm ordering it right now. What's the name of it?
Google it. You should be able to find somewhere on Amazon or eBay for like $200. Earthing. You can just like earthing blanket.
Earthing blanket. This motherfucker's gonna catch on fire and burn me down, man. There's a $23 one. I need the $200 one, right?
Yeah, I mean you gotta get one that's legit, right?
Okay, man. You send me the one you got. I'm gonna buy that. I want to wake up with no pain. I want to wake up with no.
You might find that it has other added benefits, but chances are I got by some random company for $200 and whatever. But yeah, it seemed cool.
Couldn't we? So, Judy and I believe July in the chat said something about you walk on the grass outside for 10 minutes. But so the grass is like, I mean, I guess if you say the grass is connected to the earth, if the pavement's connected to the earth, in theory, I mean, everything's connected to the earth because they're building that on top of something. I mean, the grass is still level with the pavement. So the grass is sort of, I mean, the grass is put on top of something, but it's connected to soil. So you're saying you connect to the soil through that, therefore you connect.
The grass is a living organism and it has conductive characteristics, but the pavement is not. That's the idea behind it. And how often do you walk barefoot on pavement anyways?
Well, not me very much, but I'm going to start walking around in my grass now. I'm going to start taking walks in my grass barefoot. I'm going to try it.
There you go.
5 minutes. This is getting really hippie. Yeah, the old Eastern medicine shuffle pulled on you, kid, for sure.
Yeah.
Fuck it, man. No gamble, no future, man. Listen, if you don't have nothing to believe in, what good is it, right? You got to believe in something, man. You're in an experimental part of your life right now, Sean.
Absolutely.
This is the time to experiment with all sorts of fucking weird things. Some work, some don't. You get the shuffle pulled on you a couple times. You know, that's what you work hard for. You work hard to get the shuffle pulled on you on occasion.
I figure $200 is a very minimal investment. Even if 1 out of 50 times it's has a profound impact on my life, it's worth it. I never hesitate to spend money on potential lifestyle improvements, health improvements.
HB Gunner said, well, hold on. HB Gunner said he's right about electrons in your body getting out of balance. This is why we get shocked sometimes when we touch a doorknob. But after that shock, your charge is back to equilibrium. Allegedly. Thank you, HB Gunner.
Interesting.
All right. We want to talk Colombia. You just got back. What do you say?
I was just saying, I don't claim to be an expert. It's just from what I read, it seemed like it might be a viable thing. But yeah, let's talk about Colombia. Just in Colombia for 2 weeks. And it is a crazy world, Colombia. Did you see my snap?
I was in Colombia for 2 weeks too. You want to know why? Because I followed you on fucking Snapchat, and I got 100 snaps a day on Snapchat. I was in Colombia too. It was fun. I had fun there. Thank you. Did you really almost get shot?
No, I didn't almost get shot.
Why would you lie about that, kid? Why would you say someone pulled out a fucking gun at you or something and you ran away?
Listen, I didn't lie. It was legit. Okay, so I was with my buddy and we're walking through the park, and this park is like drug dealer central, like candy/drug dealer. So people walk around Colombia or Medellin with candy, but they're also drug dealers. They're offering you candy, but they also have drugs. That's just the way the system works.
Okay.
And this park is like Candyman Central. And I was walking through with my buddy, and I saw this couple walking towards us, and I saw the look on the guy's face as he saw something behind me. It just looked like he saw a ghost. And he grabs the girl and pulls her in, like kind of ducks in behind this building. And I'm like, that's really weird. But like, at this point, I'm kind of alert, right? And you see that, you're like, that's strange. And then I kind of hear something. I look behind, and I see this guy who we've been like hanging out up there, like talking about something like near a store or whatever. And I'd seen this guy up there, and he was sitting with the other candy dealers, and he starts running full blast at us, like directly at us. So I grab my buddy and pull him, and we both kind of move to get out of the way. And as this guy's running past us, he pulls this massive pistol out of his pants. And I'm not talking like a little gun. I'm talking this huge, like fucking GoldenEye silver gun like huge barrel, pointing it, running, and I'm just like, oh my god, at this point. So me and my buddy just run as fast as we can in the opposite direction. I'm like kind of running zigzags just in case like bullets start flying this way. I want to make sure that I don't get clipped. I just and we end up not hearing shots. And the crazy thing about it, as soon as we get up to this hill, like 5 seconds in running and turn the corner, we're on like a super main busy street. It's like a Saturday evening. People are having dinner on the patios. Like it's completely like, it's not like it's like a super shady area of the city. It's actually a really nice area. So that was my encounter with the Colombia cartels.
Wait, how did the guy not catch you? Where did that guy go? Where did he go with the gun? What happened?
I mean, I guess he went running after, I don't think the couple turned around and ran. I think my guess is that the couple is associated with somebody else. Maybe they were part of a group of people where there was an altercation earlier, maybe. And when the guy saw him and they saw each other, the guy was like, oh shit. And the guy saw him and maybe ran past him towards whoever was else. I didn't see who was behind them, so it's possible there was another group of people or something. But yeah, I didn't hear any gunshots fired. There was a lot of turmoil when we were there because they're having an energy crisis and a small crisis at the same time in Medellin. And there's also some political turmoil. So it was kind of a bad time to be there. Like, for example, like the last weekend we were there were no cars allowed on the road, which made for like a really bad party scene. Which is kind of funny because it implies that the people going to the bars are driving home after. But yeah, it was kind of a bad time to be in the city, but it was a really, really cool experience. It's such a different culture there. Like it's just, I mean, the women are just insanely attractive. Like it's Colombia, first of all, is known for having those like really attractive Hispanic, Latino women. And Medellin is the capital, it's the Hollywood of South America. Like it's where they are migrating to. And literally everywhere you look, like any girl between the age of whatever you want to say the age at to 30, 35 is just like drop dead, But it's really strange because there's the supply and demand is such that there's such a supply of them that they're not treated the same way they would if they were in Chicago or New York City or Toronto, where they would be treated, they'd immediately get propelled into the hot girl industry and do whatever they want, some sort of model or work in whatever. There, it's just they're a dime a dozen. It's like they don't have the same attention. So it makes for some really like bizarre scenes. Like I don't know, it's weird. It's hard to explain. But yeah, the women there are just mind-blowing. Crazy.
You need to get them on Instagram, Sean. They'll be flying out to countries on dates for money soon.
Yeah, I mean that's maybe.
So my boy Easy Ed Berg in the chat. What's up, Ed? He said I lived in Medellin for 6 months and saw nothing on the store. Sean, when this happened, were you on extracurricular activities during this time? Did you think maybe you imagined this happening or something? Next question. Okay, all right. It makes more sense when you think about it from that perspective. So you're saying when you're in Colombia, there are just any age group, like 16 up to 35. So it's the Hollywood. That makes sense. So it's like all the attractive women congregate there. So all the attractive South American people are there, but there's so many of them. Like the guys don't like. I don't understand how. Can you explain a little bit more?
So my friend that lives there dates a girl who grew up there, and I learned a lot about the culture from her. And she said that, I mean, this is her opinion, so, and also from what I saw. So, like, don't take this with a grain of salt, is what I'm saying. But she says that Colombian men tend to be a little bit sexist, first of all. Like, if you go back 30 or 40 years in North American society, that's kind of the same way that the women are treated. So you can imagine how that's different, obviously. But also, just culturally, they don't appreciate the women as much. It's almost like Colombian men are not into Colombian women, which is really weird because they're so attractive. And it makes it so that their value as being, so if you're this Colombian woman that's amazingly attractive, like the guys there just like don't really care that much, you know? It's weird. It's a very strange society, but everything there is like 10% the cost of what it is here. So $100 American there is like $1,000, you know? Which means that the sex trade is a thing, because, you know, if you are like, there's just so much money that there's so much more incentive for a girl there to have sex for money with a foreigner who's going to give her $100, because that's like she's going to get $1,000, you know? So it's almost like the sex trade is boosted 10x, the tourism sex trade. Does that make sense? Like the incentives are boosted 10x?
Were you getting? So, were you participating in this? How do you know this? I don't know this. How do you know this though?
I was not participating, but it's there. I know it's there. I mean, I was there with a bunch of guys, and there's, you know, we party with people. I saw like there's working girls.
Allegedly, this is taking place, right?
Yeah, there's working girls everywhere. Yeah, it's a bizarre world there, man. It's really cool. I liked it a lot. There's amazing landscapes. You can go see some really cool stuff if you go on some. Like it's basically it's in a valley, Medellin, and there's just these massive mountains around, and it makes for just an awesome scene. It's a really cool city. I'd like to go back. The one thing though is if you don't speak Spanish, the people there don't speak much English in general, so it makes it difficult to communicate and mingle with the locals. But I'd like to go back, but learn Spanish before going back.
So what is it like with the non-sex trade, industry workers down there for you personally? So like, what was it like? I heard Adrian was on the podcast, my buddy Adrian Phoenix. He talked about Gringo Tuesdays there, where they go to a certain place and like White Man King there and stuff like that. So what was it like for you walking around there or going to places where the girls like, hey, papi, coramosa, caramoracita, papacita, mocha bonita, or were they saying, like, what was happening there, Lefort? I imagine a kid like you walking around, you know, fucking tank top on or something like that, dressed like Lefort. I mean, what next question? Well, just fucking tell them, like, what's it like? Like, what happened? So they come up to you? Like, I don't want to know the fucking specifics of the girl taking you allegedly around the corner or something like that. I just want, like, what's, like, put us there. We want to visual, like, paint us a picture of what it's like down there as you walk the street with the squad, with the hitters.
The people there put North American people on a pedestal. So they're actually, they very much admire Gringos, but they're also intimidated by them. So you don't just walk around as a good-looking guy and get a ton of attention, because they're not going to interject, because they almost see it as though you're above them. That's not true of everybody, but for my friend's girlfriend, she said that, you know, that's the way, like, she says society there kind of sees Gringos, is that they're on another level. So you don't just walk around and get a ton of attention. There's also plenty of other white people there, and people are mingling. So it's not like it's like you're a celebrity, but it's different in that you have to be proactive in the social scene in order to get attention, because you're not included in the social scene really unless you get involved.
Paint us a picture, Lefort. Put us in the social scene in Colombia with you. Paint us take us through us, man. Walk our fucking hands through a night out with Lefort at a maybe a club, at a bar, at a lounge where people might be mingling together. Might be some Colombians, might be some other, you know, types of South American ethnicities participating in this place. Just put us there, man. Me and Balky, we want to feel like what it's like to be. I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna visualize. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't know what you're alluding to. I mean, we went out for dinners, we went out to bars, you know, did some dancing or whatever, and it wasn't like I was there to.
So no different than a night out in Toronto is what you're saying. Same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't there to like meet women or anything like that.
Of course, you're not there to meet women, but the way AJ told it is like they come up to you and they're like, they're like, papi, they say, what the fuck? I don't know, some sort of beautiful, I don't know what they say. I can't remember the exact words he said, but that's what he said it was like. He brought us in there, and then he ended up taking I don't know. Shit got crazy for him down there. He fell in love with one. He's taking her to Las, but she's coming to the World Series of Poker this summer. So
really?
Yeah, he met a alleged Colombian doctor down there, and now they're in love. They Skype all the time. She's coming to Montreal, and then she's gonna go to Vegas this summer.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we had a good time. I mean, I don't know what else to say. We didn't do a lot of mingling because the bar scene was really bad. Like it was tough to find the right place to be. We were at the odd bar where it was just kind of like a lot more locals. There wasn't a lot of gringos. Like there were no Gringo Tuesdays when we were there because the city was in turmoil for the week that we were there. So we had to make our own fun, and we did some mingling. You know, and we had fun. And, you know, yeah, the girls definitely like white guys there. That's for sure.
That's what I'm saying. I don't need the fucking specifics. I'm just curious what it's like. You know, I'm gonna go. I'll find out. For fuck's sakes, man. I'll tell people what it's like. You know, you walk into the place. You're sitting there talking to your amigo, and then you know, 3 Colombians. You start talking to them, and they seem very receptive. They seem very open, and you guys are drinking some margaritas. Maybe you order some quesadillas, you some chapote with salsa or something like that, and then. I'm just curious of the dynamic, like how it's different with, you know, with around North American violence or North American and Colombian violence. I'm just, you know, I'm trying to pick. I can't imagine what it's like. You know, I guess I gotta go. That's my only option. I gotta go.
Sounds like we need to go together, I think.
I don't think so. I'm not trying to get a gun pulled on me by this crazy guy again, Poppy.
It's funny, like the girl that was there said, like my buddy's girlfriend, that she's never in her life seen a gun. Like, I think it was just we went at a bad time, and the city's kind of got some turmoil going on right now. But I definitely want to go back. I'm going to learn Spanish. She actually took us to her grandmother's house, and I like had a bit of a translated conversation with her grandmother, and told her that I was going to be coming back next year. And so I promised to this like 95-year-old Colombian woman that I'm going to see her next year. So I kind of have to live up to my promise. But I also promised that I would learn Spanish. That was actually really cool. Her father made us a Colombian, like an authentic Colombian dinner. I really like the food there. It's good. Very simple.
95 is not even equated on the scale. The great grandma grind. Fuck, 95. Shit. Lefort, kid, reaching a new level of GTO, my friend. 95. Yeah, I told Adrian I'd go with him to Colombia, but I'm in for Colombia with you. Anytime you want to go to Colombia, I'll go with you. Provided I'm not married, because I'm sure my wife wouldn't like it if I went to Colombia with you. Obvious reasons, of course. So, but yeah, I'm committed to Colombia at between now and the rest of the year. And then next year I'm committed to.
We'll put it on the list of things to do.
Sounds good. I mean, I don't think it'd be too hard to have. I'm ready to book the flight now. If you were like, let's go to Colombia today, I'd book the flight right now. I'm in.
All right, let's give it some time. We'll plan it. We'll do it properly.
Fucking man, I'm trying to get on that 95 grind too, Pop. Being dead or alive, 95. I don't know. I gotta sim that one more. Guys, if you got some questions, for Lefort, now's the time. Bring them on. Bring them on. It could be anything related to life, love, hope. You got anything planned over here the next couple months, Sean?
I like to be in Toronto this time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year for sports. Hockey playoffs, basketball playoffs. Raptors are valid this year in the basketball playoffs. Baseball season's starting. Everybody likes going to Jays games, getting drunk. Golf season is starting. It's a great time of the year to just be around and live life. The city is coming alive with the weather, so the patios start opening. People start getting off work early. There's just a buzz in the air this time of the year, and I like to be here for it. So no plans really, just the normal grind. Playing some poker, not a ton of poker, but whenever there's action, I'll play, and also just diving right into the whole idea of getting into trading and seeing how feasible that is. And yeah, it's going to take a lot lot of work. I ordered a few books the other day, and they're all like this thick. So I got to start reading those.
Isn't there like a run? There's not a run at once for day trading. Like retired day traders decided to make a site and they lost their passion for it and got into something. There's got to be like a run at once for day trading out there.
I don't think it's possible there is. I just think that the incentives are aligned in such a way that it's more profitable for those people to just continue investing their own money. Like it's rare for somebody that has the knowledge worth selling, but they have the incentive such that they sell it instead of just using the knowledge, So
it doesn't
different.
But you don't necessarily, yeah, I guess so it doesn't go away in day trading, it always stays there. Whereas at poker, things are constantly evolving. Therefore, the knowledge you might have had here isn't going to apply there unless you're staying up to date on the knowledge.
That's actually one of the big lessons that I've already learned is that what works today might not work tomorrow. And by being really good at problem solving, if you can figure out what works tomorrow before everybody else, then you can take advantage of that opportunity, right? So you can't just read a book that's 10 years old and take this guy's strategy for trading and then copycat it and print money. You have to figure it out on your own, which is why it seems like a huge challenge, but that's actually what makes me think that it's beatable for me, is that tomorrow is a new challenge for everybody, right?
Oh. I gotta go to. I've been drinking a lot of water here, Sean. I gotta pee. Can I give you a question here from one of the chat here? Show of Force says, or actually, Brendan said SMB Capital Blog is top notch for day trading equity too, as well. Something to check out potentially. My boy Daniel says, what does Lefort think about people living the young lifestyle? The young lifestyle for longer into their 30s and delaying the more responsible part of life, e.g., family, etc. Go ahead.
That's a really good question.
That question really applies to me too. I'm gonna have to stay close by for this one.
So does that mean you're peeing into a bottle beside the chair? Anyways, okay. Question. So, I can't focus right now. Joey's peeing into a bottle, but he's not actually saying anything, so you can't see it. But he's on the other side peeing in a bottle. Anyways, so I thoroughly believe that if you do the right things, we have the knowledge now to live much healthier, longer lives. Such that I think that when I'm 60 years old, I'm going to be significantly healthier than my dad is at 60 years old, which means I'm more open to the idea of being 60 when my kids are 20, and having kids later in life. So that's the direction I'm headed. I'm 31 years old. I don't have a girlfriend, so I don't think I'm going to be having any kids anytime soon. But my thought process is that I think I'm going to live to be old and healthy, and I'm going to be very active even when I'm older. So because of those things, delaying that responsible life for the sake of getting these extra experiences in my 30s before doing those things, I think for me is really valuable, and I'm really hoping that that's cool.
Hoping that's socially acceptable, or what?
It's really funny because it's certainly acceptable to me.
Right.
I have no problem with it, and it's funny because I'll talk to people and they ask if I'm single or not, and then I'll say I'm single, and some people see it as I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that you're still single. You're 31.
Right, yeah.
So, and that blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind, because I look at it totally opposite. I love the experiences I have being single, and it's amazing what you can do when you get to this level where you're in your 20s, your late 20s, and you figured out the world enough to enjoy it to the max without having any responsibilities. It's pretty awesome. So I also see a lot of relationships that people are together just because they need to be in a relationship, and it's not necessarily right for them. And there's so much negativity and negative energy in the relationship that the person carries on with them. and I pity those people the same way that those same people pity me for being single. So it's kind of funny because I feel like it's perfectly acceptable to me to be single, and I don't look at it as a negative thing, and certainly I'm not shameful in any way. But yeah, I guess some people look at it like it's like a bad thing, right? I mean, the world changes, and if you don't pay attention and notice it, you know, like we're not in our 50s anymore, like, or we're not in the 1950s anymore, where you know, start having kids when you're 20 years old and start that life. Like, the world is different. I've never had any pressure from my parents to do so, and they want me to live a happy life and live my life like I want to live it. And they'd like to have grandkids someday, and I'd like to do that for them, but only if it's with the right person.
I'm pretty convinced that I think from a lot of people I've talked with, I mean, I've been, you know, off and on trying this whole idea of a relationship out, because I've been very, I mean, I love being single as well. You can do it at whatever you want. You can go anywhere you want. And, you know, I guess in a way that's good, in a way that's bad, I suppose.
We're going to pee. You continue.
Okay. I'll get some shout outs. I don't think Lefort's pissing in the bottle. I did not do that. Of course, I walked to my second bathroom right there. Who we got still here? Listen, if you're still tuned in right now, and if you've been watching the whole time, this is a standard Lefort, me and Lefort podcast. If you've been watching this entire time, shout out to you. Much love to you. If you've been here since the beginning of the podcast, if you're watching this on replay and you watch the whole entire fucking thing, I love when people let me know when they go on Twitter and they say, hey, at 4 hours into the Fedor podcast, you said if I'm still watching, tweet you something, and you'll send me something. And listen, I've sent a nude photo of myself to everyone who said that to me. So if you're watching the Lefort and Joe Ingram 1 podcast right now, 3 hours in, let me know, and I will give you one of the best nude photos of Lefort I have in my collection. Okay, that's all I can promise you, is one nude photo of Lefort if you're watching it this far. And that's it. Lefort, you're back.
Do we get a nude photo of you?
No, you're not getting. I gave a nude photo for the Fedor cast. They get a nude photo of you, Sean.
That seems unfair.
Why does that seem unfair? What do you mean? Should I put one of myself in as well too?
Of course.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Maybe us together, you know, like.
Yeah, we can maybe be naked in the spirit hoods together.
Oh God.
That might be something people want to see. A lot of people in the chat are saying they've been here the entire time. If you've been here the entire time, much fucking love to you. And I gotta know what the fuck y'all have been doing for 3 hours while you're watching this. What do you do? What do you do for 3 hours while you watch me? Are you staring at the screen? Are you doing other things? Like, what are you doing? I need an email. Can somebody email me this and write me a Facebook message? I want to know what you guys are doing for 3 hours while you're watching me and Sean give you that GTO with more Sean than me technically. But I feel like I'm facilitating the GTO wisdom being spit today. So let me know what you're doing. Please, guys, please tell me what you're doing. Like later on, not now. Tell me later. Grinding, playing poker, that makes sense. All right. I hope you guys are doing well. The podcast run good, and the Lefort wisdom good is on your side. And I know it's leading you guys to the promised land. All right. So let me get back to what I was saying. So I've been thinking about this a lot lately. You know, like for me personally, I live like a little fantasy life. 30 years old. You know, I'm traveling whatever I want. I'm now. You know, without somebody yelling at me. And you know, I'm sort of like I don't have a schedule. Like I mean, I feel like I'm like 18, 19, 20 in terms of my lifestyle, but in terms of, you know, the success I might be having at certain things, I feel like I'm much more mature. But I've been trying to think about, how should you think about it? Is that okay? Is that fine? Like, you know, can I be doing this when I'm 40? I don't know. Like, could I be realistically doing this when I'm 40? It seems like I could be, but it doesn't seem like you'd have much in common with most other 40-year-olds. I'm not sure.
I think we are the first generation where this is more socially accepted, and also more of a viable life path. You know, life's fun when you're single nowadays. It's a lot less lonely, I think, than it probably was 30 years ago. before the internet, before the advent of other things. And I just think that there's a lot of single people. Like when I think of all the people that have that I know,
but not just Tyler. I mean, I guess you can't do a lot of these things if you're not single, because I guess you can't. But not just being single, not because I mean, don't you think do you think the other ways you might live your life? Do you think that is sort of a young lifestyle? It's a young way to be. I suppose you can find someone that lives a young lifestyle too, potentially, but do you just correlate being single with living a young lifestyle?
I don't know what you mean by young lifestyle.
You know what? I'm looking around my fucking place. Okay, if I was married, my place wouldn't look like this. My lifestyle wouldn't be this way. I wouldn't be, going places for months at a time, sort of thing like that. That's what I would consider. I feel like that's a young lifestyle. That's a mid-20s, young 20s lifestyle that you take when you're young. You want experience, you go travel the world, and then you come back home, and then eventually in your 30s, you meet somebody, you get tied down, sort of thing. I consider that to be a younger person's lifestyle, sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess. I think we're all on that path. I think the path is just a little bit extended. Every part of the path has been extended because our lifespans are going to be extended. I mean, I fully believe by the time we're 70, you're going to have a cure for cancer. We're going to fully understand everything involved with heart disease and diet. There's just constantly breakthroughs of understanding things about food and how the body works. Understanding things about bacteria, the microbiome, understanding things about everything, just what makes us tick, what makes us happy. And I think that it's very possible that the average lifespan in the first world is really going to take some big leaps by the time we get there. And I guess I'm kind of banking on that. I mean, plenty of people used to have kids when they were in their mid-20s, and I might be doing it, 7 or 8 years later. It's really not that big of a deal. Plenty of celebrities that have had kids, like guys that are having kids when they're like 50, Yeah,
I think most people say that they don't want to do that because, they don't want to be 60 when their child's 15 and 14 and wants to run around.
Right, but that was the point I was having earlier, is that I think when I'm 70, it's going to be similar to like 50-year-olds right now. I think that I'm going to be far more healthy for a lot of different reasons, just because by then we're also going to understand a lot of things about the body and what combats aging, for example. Yeah.
Abby L says, interesting. Shout out to Abby, by the way. I think she helped out with some timestamps. This is the same Abby I'm thinking of. She says, interesting to hear men talk about the social pressures. Thought it was mostly a woman thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a woman thing because the traditional sense of society is that the woman needs the security of a man, and the woman is associated with starting the family and having children, and the negative stigma with being an old maid. So I think there's definitely a lot more social pressure on women, especially with the idea of their biological clock ticking with every moment in their 20s and 30s that they're single. So I definitely appreciate that. I think that it's a much bigger issue for women, but I also think there's a lot more women nowadays in the kind of evolved urban world where they're in their 30s and I've met plenty of women that have said, I don't think I'm going to have kids, and I don't think I'm going to get married, and I'm completely fine with it. And you know what? They're very happy people, and they're going to live that life. And it's possible I end up living that life too. But I think the ultimate thing is to do what you want to do. Don't succumb to the social pressures purely for other people. If that's not going to that's not going to be what makes you happy, it doesn't make any sense to do it.
Yeah. I think, especially in a lot of big cities I've lived in, and I know Toronto's the same way, there's a lot more older people, with men and women who are, you know, I don't think singles looked at as this, you know, super down on thing. I guess also if you live in like the suburbs, I mean, it's almost like if you're single, you know, like you don't really have much to do. Whereas when you're in the city, you typically are gonna have more friends available to you that can do things that with you. You can go out with them. They're not, you know, like so. Whereas in the suburbs, I feel like most people here are, you know, they all have a family. They have this. They don't necessarily go out that much. So as a single person in your 30s, I mean, you just don't got fucking things to do. Like there's not much else really going on for you to partake in. You know, there's not many play. Like, you know, I think that's probably a big reason why.
Yeah,
you know, you meet people in big cities.
Yeah, and I mean that's also kind of a reason why I'm single, right? Because there's that whole other life that's fun, and there's just so many people to meet, and there's just like there's a lot of opportunities. And it's so easy to meet people now with like meet girls, and if I stayed in my hometown and I was still single right now, I can't imagine what my life would be like. It would be really difficult to find somebody. And I'm sure that when I do, I'd probably cling on to them and be like, hey, let's get married.
Right.
But being in the city, it's just like there's a lot of distractions from the path of, you know, having a family and all that stuff.
You'd be on the married girl grind if you lived back home in your village or your wherever your small suburban kind of town.
My village, yeah, I'd be on the MGG for sure. No, I probably already have kids.
Yeah, that's true. You'd be on the DGG then. It sounds like. I'll take a couple more questions here, guys. Show of Force says, "Are you sure you're going to be healthy though? At the same time, some of our ancestors lived a healthier life than us. Modern society has a lot of negative factors as well. The food we're eating, being so sedentary, pollution, etc."
Yeah, no, I agree. But it's your job to combat those things. It's your job to be educated on your nutrition, and it's your job to understand that you need to do things like earthing and grounding and meditate and not get caught up in being so sedentary and going to the gym and being active. And I think if you do all those things and you make the right choices, I think we're going to age a little bit differently than our parents' generation did.
Mm. And if you don't, at least you're going to get there in a positive way with optimism, and then you're going to die, and then you die. But you'll be optimistic going up there. You know what I mean? You'll have to be hopeful.
I'm all about enjoying the moment and enjoying the rest of my moments. And if that's with somebody, that'd be great. I hope someday that I get to experience that, the whole family life. But if I don't, it's not the end of the world. And if I decide someday that I'm going to be happy or not, then that's cool too. I don't think it's something that you have to do, you know?
Mm. Guys, let's hope one day Lefort finds that special person for himself. I don't want him to be lonely for long, guys. Please, can we give him our fucking prayers, guys? All right, I'm gonna say some Hail Marys for the guy tonight. Okay, I'm gonna listen. Everyone, do it with me tonight. One prayer for Lefort as you go to sleep, and hope that he finds that special person in his life. Because
thanks, guys.
You know, thank you very much, Lefort. We got anything else you want to add, Poppy? You know, what? Anything else you want to say? Question for me? Anything at all? What is that? It? What do we got?
We've covered a lot. I think one person did ask about meditation. Somewhere, maybe 2+2 thread or something. They asked about my progress as far as meditating. So I'm still meditating every day, and realizing that as time passes, realizing how important it is when you're an analytical-minded person to continue gaining the ability to get out of your mind sometimes, not always be thinking. And I'm really enjoying those benefits, having the ability to snap out of those moments where you're in your mind and enjoy the moment. There was a lot of times in Colombia where we weren't doing a whole lot. And if it was 5 years ago, I would have been insanely bored, sitting there and just rifling through different things to think about. I would have been bored out of my mind. But I was much more able to enjoy the moment and observe the moment, just because I was able to just chill, you know, turn off my mind. And that's kind of, meditation's really given me that ability to do that. I'm always an advocate of introducing it into your life.
You don't smoke weed, right? Because I had a friend who told me the same thing, that I always did that. And like, you really need to smoke some weed, bro.
It's really funny you say that, because I actually bought a vaporizer like 6 months ago, with the intentions of potentially introducing that into my life every once in a while when I feel like I need it. But I've never used it. And I've smoked weed before, but not more than, you know, a couple handfuls of times or whatever, maybe, you know. And I generally just don't like smoking anything. I don't like the feeling of smoke going into my body. I don't like the way it makes my lungs feel. I struggled with asthma as a kid. I'm allergic to things. I'm very finicky with my lungs, and I don't like the heat in my body. So I've never really done it, but to be honest with you, I think I'm definitely the type of person that could very much benefit from, like, the type of person that it would help my life if I used it appropriately. But no, I haven't gotten into it.
Remember that idea I talked to you about a long time ago about how I wanted to do something where I wanted to, it's like the podcast, but in person sort of thing, or I would, like a mini documentary / podcast where I would go behind the scenes in someone's life with them for a couple days, like show them what it's like, ask some questions that are similar podcast questions. I really need to do that with you. Because I'm trying to think, you know, like, who would I want to do it with? Well, you know, probably people like Hollywood Haxton, or like people, but I know people that I know a little bit better too, not just, you know, random people I don't know quite yet until I'm more, you know, apt at the whole recording and editing process. But I mean, that'd be so much fun. I feel like there's so much like wisdom in these podcasts, but they're so long, and then people like, you know, they're not gonna get the wisdom out of there. They would just enjoy it so much. And think about, you could put that on Instagram, and then, I mean, you're going to increase the followers, man. I mean, I'm thinking about this from an IGG perspective here, kid.
Maybe we should start discussing that idea. Maybe we should discuss the idea of you coming to Toronto for a weekend during the summer, and we set up a bunch of things that we want to do and an itinerary for the schedule, and have a lot of mini casts, Twitter casts and podcasts.
No, I'm thinking this is like a 30 to 45 minute video of just like, more like a natural thing, like what you do, like how your process is, like how your daily process is, how you operate, you know, with approaching life, you know, trying to get better at everything, trying to work hard at things you do with the workouts and with the diet and with the food and with in the gym, your approach to your job, your approach to taking in knowledge, you know, the nightlife, maybe going out with friends, sort of how you think about certain things in certain situations, like being able to capture those things on video for people to enjoy, to learn from, to watch, to be entertained by. I feel like it would be very fascinating for a lot of people out there.
Well, let's discuss it after the podcast in the next few weeks. We'll discuss, throw some ideas around.
Sounds good. I'm 100%. What do you say?
I think it'd be fun.
It definitely would be fun. Everyone said it wouldn't be a reality show. It's just like it's like the cowspiracy thing. It's like a version of that, but, you know, not obviously about cowspiracy. It's about.
But are you saying that you would actually be coming to Toronto?
Yeah, dude. I looked it up. It's an hour-and-a-half flight away. I don't know why I've never gone to Toronto in my life before.
Yeah, let's do it, especially in the summertime, because then we can have, like, you know, I can have a party at my place, and we can kind of like a little bit of an in-depth look into the life of Lefortments.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
Fun. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I think so too, and it would make for people to just enjoy it, man. I mean, I'm just thinking about IGG perspective for a kid like you. You know, put it up there, little clips from it. You know, I mean, you're presenting that social. I mean, man, this guy's getting a video made about this motherfucker. Well, he's got to be someone I'm trying to meet, man. This is the kind of hot girl I want in my life. That's what the girls are going to be saying.
It's got to be high quality, properly edited material, though, if it's going to make it to the IGG.
That's the fucking goal, baby. The podcast made it to the IGG, and I'm gonna set my standards quite high for this too, and I'm excited about it already, man.
All right, let's talk.
Guys in the chat.
We're over 3 hours now. We should probably look to wrap this up here.
Believe me, I'm ready. My knees hurt like a motherfucker. I'm ready to go do some yoga. I'm ready to eat 25 meals of chicken with 100 cups of water and go to the bathroom 18 times in honor of my friend Sean Lefort for coming on the fucking podcast again. Great episode as always. Guys, if you out there watched it all, much love to you. Appreciate tuning in. Next podcast, Monday night with Xuan Lu at 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe. It could be 7 p.m. Eastern. It could be 6 p.m. Eastern. I have to recheck the time. I'm pretty sure it's 8 p.m. Eastern. Do you know Xuan, Sean?
I do, yeah. She lives in Toronto. She's a cool girl. Really nice girl.
Play some chess? Any matches between the two of you?
No, never had any matches with her.
Okay. All right, guys. Everybody on YouTube, appreciate all the comments. Appreciate all the questions. Much love, Poppies. I feel like blessing these motherfuckers. Listen, I always send my friend after I play basketball. I'm like super, like I'm the king of the fucking world. Like I could motivate the laziest fucking person, most depressed person ever in that time. And I always send her like these videos. Normally it's when she's waking up because I'm playing ball overnight. And she's like, oh my God, I like woke up ready to fucking crush it. I'm like, I know. Right. And I kind of want to do some of that now, but I'm not going to. Not going to do that, guys. I can't. Sean, what do you got planned for the day, buddy? You going, what are you doing tonight?
Well, after that long talk about vegetarianism, I've got a bunch of steaks in my fridge. I got a barbecue. So I'm about to go barbecue some food. See what my friends are up to. Maybe go out tonight. Probably go to the Raptors game tomorrow. And yeah, just kind of chill. Did a lot of partying in Colombia. I don't want to do too much of that.
The extracurricular. I need a word that goes after extracurricular, not the shuffle, not the grind. I need a word. But give me a word, Sean.
Activity.
No. Come on. No. A unique word. Extracurricular experimentations.
Extracurricular toppings.
Extracurricular toppings. I gotta lab this fucking one. I don't know. Let me put this in the streets and see the kind of results I get back here. But all right, guys, much love. I'm out. Peace out. Extracurricular festivities. Certainly is a possibility. That's it, Sean. Pleasure as always. It's been fun. Let's talk soon.
From my side, buddy. Glad to do a podcast with you any day.
I'm glad you made it back on the podcast at some point in time, kid. Pretty soon, I'm gonna be the big podcaster in other parts of the world, and I'm gonna say goodbye to all the poker players in the world, and it's gonna be a sad day. Oh no, well, you're gonna be an investor. Never mind, man. You're on the podcast. Think about this, Sean. You're gonna be on the podcast for the next 15 to 20 years. How crazy is that, dude?
It's true.
I know, it's insane. They're gonna watch. I'll tell you what. If you're watching this in 10 years, message me and tell me you saw this. I'm swear to God right now. Message me and say, hey, I was watching this podcast with you and Lefort from 2016 on April 15th at the 5-year anniversary of Black Friday. And at the end of the video, 3 hours into it, you said, if I see this, message you. If you do that, I will fly you to wherever I am. Because I'm 10 years, I'm gonna be fucking killing whatever it is I'm doing. I'll fly you to I'll fly you to Vegas, assuming Vegas is still what it is. I'll put you up there. I'll make sure Lefort's there too, unless we don't friends anymore. I can't promise that, but I'll be there. I'll fly you out there, give you one of the best weekends of your whole entire motherfucking lives. And if not, we're gonna die trying. Message me 10 years from now if you see this, and I'm gonna make it happen. That's it. Lefort, I'm pumped up. I'm a little excited over here. You got me hyped up, kid. I mean, hey, what can we say here?
I want you to keep working on your social media game. I want to see more of those Joey Ingram snaps. I want to see more of the Joey Ingram Instagram.
Okay, what am I supposed? Okay, so I'm at home. What am I supposed to take a picture of my chicken asparagus? I don't know what to I don't know what to be Instagramming or Snapchatting. I don't know. I like to play some chess. Obviously, I'm a competitive chess player at a high level, but I'm just not sure exactly what I should be Instagramming or Snapchatting.
Do you ever go out?
I mean, occasionally, but not. I try to stay focused on sort of what I'm working at.
Okay. Well, anytime you do anything that you think is a little bit interesting or funny, put it in a snap. You got to caption. You got to be aware of things that are going on around you. You might see something funny going on while you're at a restaurant or something, or play with the filters. I've never seen the Joey Inger puppy dog face. You haven't done that yet?
True. I feel like if I only featured women on there, though, that other women would be a little turned off by that, you know?
Then don't.
Kind of, you know, you talk about doing things. I mean, those might be some of the things I do, you know? When I'm doing things, that's kind of, I'm doing things that involve that. What do you say?
Then choose some of the other things.
Yeah. All right, we're out, guys. Much love. Peace out. Shout out to the stalkers. Shout out to everybody out there. Shout out to all the Fort stalkers, women and men who are watching this in its entirety. We're out. Peace.
See you guys.